call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. The date is May 9th, 2024, at 6 p.m. This is our regular commission meeting, our CRA meeting. I'm going to, Karen, will you do a roll call? I think that would be better. Everybody present?
Commissioner DeVito,
Present.
Commissioner Lori,
Present.
Commissioner Banks,
Present.
Commissioner Burton. Present. City Manager Charles Wright,
Present.
City Attorney Morgan Pickens,
Present.
Code Enforcement Officer Pam Taylor,
Present.
Financial Director Steve Coughlin.
Present.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, me. Present.
And Captain Essery, we have Captain Essery. with the
Captain
Sheriff's
Essery.
Office.
Sorry, Kathy.
Here. Here.
And I'm here too.
Oh, the mayor.
Everyone's present. So with that, let's go ahead. Commissioner Banks, if you'll lead us in invocation, please stand if you're able.
Father, dear gracious God, we thank you today for our life, health, and strength in our mind. We continuously pray for this commission, pray for our citizens around and about our community. Continue to lead us and guide us in the way that we should go. We ask these blessings in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'm gonna go into our announcements. As most of you know, and if you don't know, you've seen, this is National Historic Preservation Month. And we have to thank a lot of our volunteers from the Fruitland Historical Society who have gone around and put signs up that say this place matters. Make sure that you stop if you have an opportunity, scan those codes and it'll tell you about that property. I know Commissioner Lori, you were very involved in that. Rachel, Cherie, and is there other people? And Commissioner DeVito. So make sure you stop. It's very interesting what they have, the information that they've gathered on those properties. And with that, we're gonna start off with this Saturday, May 11th at 9 a.m. We're going to have a walking tour of Prospect Avenue. You need to meet at South State Bank, so you can park there. Make sure you bring water, it might be a little warm. Also, on Saturday, May 11th at 6 o'clock, we have our New Moon Market, which is down on Central Avenue. In the first block here, it's where is Christine not here? Okay,
She's with the client, she'll be over in a minute.
okay. Anyway, it's in where the dance studio and the art studio is, right there on Central Avenue. On Tuesday, May 11th, we have a ribbon cutting that everyone has been invited to that is interested in coming. It's at the new animal shelter that is being built in Palatka. If you need information on that, you can probably, they will have some information out on Facebook. It's over by where the sheriff's office is. On Wednesday, May 15th, we've got Bunko. I guess that group is growing. They're carrying it forward. It's at the Women's Club. It's hosted by the Women's Club, and it's from 1 to 3. On Thursday, the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society is having their annual potluck dinner. That's gonna start at 4 o'clock. It'll go till 6, and it is at the Women's Club. They've asked that if you plan to attend or bring a guest, to please sign up. Where should they, Cherie, where should they
Go on the website.
go on the website?
FPhistory.com.
Okay, fphistory.com. And then Friday, May 17th, the Women's Club is hosting their bingo. And that starts at 5:45. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Don't be late. It's $20 for dinner and bingo, and that's at the Women's Club. Also on Friday, May 17th at 6:30, there's going to be a guided walking tour of Central Avenue. And so you will meet at Central and Prospect, which is one block over. Memorial Day weekend is a big weekend here in Crescent City. We're gonna have that's May 24th and 25th, that Friday and Saturday. We will have the boat races, and those will be at Sunrise Park. For anybody that is interested or there's been some conflicting information, that is the only boat ramp that will be closed. The boat ramp by Three Bananas will be open to the public, and they will be there through Sunday, correct? They'll be there through Sunday, and all parks will be open on Monday for your boating enjoyment. Also that day, we're going to have the last of our Arden Farmers Market for the season. It gets a little warm, and so they decided that that will be the last one for the season, and they'll get started back up in September. That's gonna be in the park here, and that's from 9 to 2. Thursday, May 30th, at 7:30 is graduation for our seniors. We've got quite a few of them in the room today. And that's gonna be at the Allen Wisnowski Field, that's at Crescent City, High School. And then Saturday, boy, we got a lot of stuff still going on, everybody thought it was gonna quiet down. Saturday, June 1st, we have our 4th Cops Kids in Kayak. That's from 10 to 4 at Dexter Beach. So please make sure you come out, for that, it's for all ages, everyone enjoys it. You've got the Friends of Dunn's Creek, they're out there and they teach the boating, the kayaking, how to kayak, safety, they have safety guidance there. So it's a lot of fun, they have a bounce house and a water slide. Anyone under the age of 18 does need to be with a parent. That is the one thing, but you can meet our deputies, paddle on Lake Stella, and that's for the Putnam Blue Ways and Trails. And so it's just a fun day for everybody. This year, they're gonna have Kona Ice will be there, Sassy's Lemonade, which I heard she makes great lemonade, Mom's Barbecue, and Rad Ringo's Mini Donuts. So with that, I think that is all of our announcements. Does anybody have anything else that they need to add, they're aware of? Okay. So at this time, I'm going to ask Principal Tim Adams if he would come forward. The commission tonight would like to recognize, we have our top scholars from Crescent City High School in the room. And so we've asked Principal Adams to come forward to introduce them. As he introduces you, please come forward and stand. You can either stand probably over by Principal Adams.
It might be best maybe they stand up front, because there's so many of them. This is a
That's
great
right. Why don't we
opportunity.
put them right here for right now? Because I've asked the commissioners, if they would please share some words of wisdom, with our students. We also have in the audience, we have Holly Pickens. She is our school board member. She represents the South Putnam area. Holly, I don't know if you want to come up and stand with Mr. Adams. Nothing like putting you on the spot. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right, good evening, Mayor Myers and City Commissioners. Thank you for having us, we really appreciate it. We'd like to recognize the following students who have a focus for the future beyond high school. These students were selected as top scholars from all over the county based upon GPA, volunteer hours, extracurricular activities such as sports and clubs, as well as leadership opportunities. The top scholar is sponsored by the Robert Webb family, and they've been doing this well over 30 years. And we wanted to take the opportunity to share our students and how proud we are of them with our community. Seniors, when I call your name, please come to the stage and be recognized. If you're here, Adelina Greta, Brianna Umbries, Haley Bell, Jeremiah Carvajal, Hector Cortez. Abigail Ferrera.
Yeah.
Riley Johnson. Marissa Lassane. Manuel Martinez Ortiz. Karina Pacina. Valeria Rodriguez. Jolisa Sanchez. Laura Vargas. Griselda Vargas. Josiah Washington. As well as Emmy Delaney. Emmy was selected as a top scholar, the top overall scholar in all of Putnam County, and she did receive the Webb Award. So kudos to our students, great job.
I don't have a whole lot to say, except that I'm really proud of all of you. Thank you, commissioners and mayor. We enjoy celebrating the successes of our students at Crescent City Junior Senior High School, especially their academic excellence. I'd like to thank the seniors for making the choice to excel, for putting hard work and understanding the importance of education. I want you to remember that network that helped you, the teachers, the coaches, your pastors, your family, aunts, uncles. Remember them. Ask for advice. Don't forget that they don't go away after you graduate. They're still there, and it warms my heart as a former coach when a player texts me and said, to celebrate some success that they had, or if it's a bad thing and they need advice. So just remember to use your network of people that have gotten you this far. And always focus on the positive, dream big dreams, and find joy in them that you do.
If y'all want to kind of slide this way a little bit, and then I'm gonna start down here with Commissioner Burton.
Just basic conditions, so, because there's the.
So these are, when I talked to the commission about this is, believe it or not, we were in your shoes at one time. We were all there, and this is kind of like, what would I say to my 17, 18-year-old self? And so I so appreciate the commission for their willingness to do this.
First of all, I want to congratulate all of you. It's gonna open, I'll tell you, it starts a whole different life after you guys graduate. When is that, Thursday? This coming Thursday? Thursday, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, things will change. I just wanted to give you some words of wisdom. A quote that's guided me all my life was said by the First Lady, Eleanor Franklin, Eleanor, I'm thinking, I'm way ahead of that. Eleanor Roosevelt, and basically the quote, and it's something that I think about every day, really, I carry it with me. I am who I am today because of the choices I made yesterday. So just remember, moving forward, all the choices you make moving forward is gonna define you into your future. So, say that again.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that, I kind of missed some of them because they're absent, but they got the call for being absent. But you all that came out, I just want to say this, it's a challenge for young people nowadays. You got so many obstacles, but I'm so glad that y'all have made it this far without stopping. we have to look to the hill where your help comes. And I got the preacher in me, your help comes from the Lord. So don't forget about him. As long as you stick with him, he gonna stick with you, and you'll be successful in life.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lord?
Well, I was looking for a quote earlier to kind of talk to, give you guys some word of advice. And one that I found was Dwight D. Eisenhower. He said, in planning for battle, I've always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. And I just want to say that kind of applies to life as well as in battle. It's very important to plan and to have a future, have a goal, but just realize that you're never going to get that goal. You can always change, things will change, and your life will change. And the most important part is you got to change with it. So, I had a whole plan laid out when I was standing there like you guys were, and that all kind of went a little crazy, but I kept going. So just make sure you just keep moving forward, and you'll do fine.
Commissioner DeVito?
Great, well, I know that you're all very accomplished and you've had great teachers and mentors in your high school. So congratulations on everything you've achieved to date. And I would just say, since you're all excellent students and scholars, be a lifelong learner, whatever career you have, but as well, learn from every experience that you have in your life. Personal experiences, how things work or how things don't work out. And be confident in yourselves and your abilities. And as Commissioner Lori said, if things don't go quite as expected, learn from that and as the saying goes, adjust your sails. Adjust your sails. Just because a plan doesn't go exactly as you thought, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It can still be good. So I know some of you are, maybe all of you are going to college. Have a great time.
I won't, it's funny, I will not tell you what I said to my daughter when she went to college. We'll skip that.
Commissioner DeVito said have a good time, your parents are saying not too good of a time. We've all been there. You done, Commissioner DeVito?
Yes.
Okay. I've gone back and forth with this, and I would have to say that when I look back on my life, there's been so many different things that people have shared with me that have stuck with me. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Make that journey important, make it memorable. And when I looked at the different quotes, it's, Eleanor Roosevelt, what could be accomplished if we knew we could not fail? We have Tony Robbins, the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. Of course, there's Walt Disney, and he says, all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And Viola, all dreams are within reach. All you have to do is keep moving towards them. And I think the one word I would have to share with you, and I've made you all a rock, because when I was running for mayor, someone, a very special lady, who she and her husband, Deb and Larry Favre, they make rocks, they paint on rocks, and they made me a rock, and I still have it on my desk today. But I will have to say the common denominator, and that's about as far as I got in math, is that action. No matter what you dream, if you don't put action with it, it's just gonna be a dream. So always have action. Always take action. Actions speak louder than words. Action is just a powerful word as you go forward. And so I would share with you to just keep that always, every day. Whatever you're trying to pursue, take action towards it, and you'll get to where you want to go. The other thing I would say is have grace for yourself. Give yourself grace. Because there are gonna be some hills, there's gonna be some valleys. But as long as you allow yourself grace, you'll be just fine. We here at the city, we are so, so very proud of each and every one of you. You are the first class, I believe, that started high school during the pandemic, is that correct? This is the first class. So you have already met some struggles that others before you had not met, and you overcame those struggles. And look where you are today, look where we all are today, not knowing where we would be. Graduates, I have to say, you are our future. We are so very proud of you, and you give us all hope. So, with that, let's get a picture. Does anybody want to say anything? Would you like to speak? I'll put you on the spot. Do you want to? This is an opportunity. Oh, I've got everything. For our web, we got a special rock for Emmy. Hers is a different color. So everybody, if you want to take a rock, don't throw them at anybody, but there's a rock for everybody.
You are a rock, but you know what? I want to take it with
Mayor, would you like everyone to come up and?
Yeah, do you want to come around? Has everybody got one? Got one?
Take a song, y'all.
I guess everybody let's come around here, and then what we need to do right here, guys, is we just need to make a space for Commissioner Lori. I'm gonna move it just a tad bit. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're gonna have to scoot in,
Commissioner, you
so.
can go right there. Yeah, right there.
Okay, Josiah.
I'm short. I like the 5 minutes. Here we go.
Vertical challenge.
Can you get us all, John?
Yeah. Thanks. I thought I'd take you down. I'm sorry.
You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Has everybody got a picture? Parents, everybody got pictures? You're welcome to stand up. Okay, it looks like everybody's good. Everybody, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
I just want to
Okay,
say,
you
if
have
you
a
choose
picture?
to throw that rock, make sure you make the right choice.
Sure.
It's in there.
I'll bring it. Yeah, no.
Floor is yours, sir. The floor is yours.
First, I want to thank y'all, the county, the commissioner, the mayor, for allowing us to be here. I want to thank all the people that are here, the parents, Mr. Adams, without a doubt, Mr. Daney and the Daney family. Ms. Taylor, who is out there, is one of our subs, Mr. Counts' favorite sub. I just want to say that, I mean, coming from a small town, like, sometimes, people say that like, there's limits, but I mean, I seen that when we went to the Top Scholar Night, Emmy was able to show out. I guess we say that, yeah, show out. Hearing many people were like, oh, this person's gonna get it, and then after hearing everything, I'm like, nah, that's Emmy. So, to my class, I want to say that I'm proud of y'all. I know that, I mean, it wasn't easy. eighth grade got cut short, but I'm proud of all of y'all, and I think all of the people that are here, and also the county that has kept us going, and thank you.
Thank you. We wish you all well. Much success, much success. This is always the fun part.
And this one's from
I'll let them all clear out and we'll get started. Commissioners, you have before you, we have the minutes, and we also have, I believe Karen sent out Commissioner DeVito's changes. Has everyone had a chance to look over those changes?
There's just one question that I wanted to bring up was, we spend a lot of time correcting the announcements of all these events. Is that something that we really have to have in there?
No.
Okay, because it seems like that's a big deal that doesn't necessarily need to even be reported.
I don't think it does, Commissioners. I just think it's the announcement, we can just say announcements of events occurring, just our announcements. Everyone good with that? Okay, so, I need a motion,
Sarah, sorry, I sent what I thought was all the pages. There was one page that did not go out, and the pages aren't numbered, but it was the next to last page of the meeting minutes. The one that has Newman Lodge. I thought you had that one?
Yes, sir.
I put it in the correct order when I scanned them in.
Oh, okay, she redid it. Okay, so you have everything.
I have everything.
Okay,
So I'll make a motion, please, for the minutes, approval of the minutes with,
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written with the necessary changes.
do I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I believe there was only, Karen, I believe Commissioner DeVito, you put in there about a motion that you had made. It was on the dumpsters.
yes.
And Karen, she listened to the, video, and I listened to it with her. Karen, do you want to speak to that?
Usually with motions, I do it word for word. And I believe that, according to Robert's Rules of Order, that I'm not supposed to change a motion worded. So therefore, if you ask me to add things to that motion, I cannot add it.
Well, I don't know what I added.
So please repeat.
It was where the dumpsters were being discussed,
Insertion.
dumpsters and closures.
If you flip back to the. Yeah, I'll show you what.
It was part of the discussion, but it wasn't actually part of the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all right, so it was part of the discussion, but not part of the motion.
Yes.
Okay,
I can add it as a discussion if you would like me to.
well, that's,
Yeah, add it to the motion.
that was part of the corrections and additions. Insert B before the motion where it says Mayor Myers expressed concern as to how the one-year moratorium and need for compliance would be communicated to dumpster owners. And that was what she said. Basically, we had a little discussion and then I made the motion.
You made the motion.
You made the
You
motion,
made the
then we had
motion,
discussion.
then the discussion, and then we went to roll call.
And then after your motion is when you basically stated that we not issue any,
It was a discussion.
There were two motions.
Mhm.
Okay, the first motion was for the moratorium, right? On the dumpsters.
We can pull this if you would like, and we can pull this one, and you can have an opportunity to listen to it if you would like.
Well, or Karen, are you saying there was only one motion?
No, there was 2 motions there.
Okay.
But
Well,
the
right.
one that I'm talking about was, there was the second motion, when it was voted, it says Commissioner Vito moved to bring the dumpsters close to the May meeting for further discussion and and ask code enforcement not to notify people until after the May meeting.
Right, and right
That's when you inserted something that on that second vote is.
right, as to how it would be implemented, right.
That's how to be implemented.
But before the motion is what I have is insert B, and that was the comment that the mayor made after we took the first vote on the moratorium,
I
right?
think she's referring to the arrow.
I'm just
Yeah.
referring to the arrow, I'm not.
That's fine, take it out, if I didn't say the motion, take it out.
But I can put it in the discussion if you want to. I can add it as.
Yes, please
discussion.
add it to the discussion, Karen.
Okay.
Do we have any further comments on the motion, on the minutes?
I just have a request.
Yes.
That it would help us if the minutes, the pages of the minutes would be numbered and dated. I think you can do that. You can do that at the bottom, as a recurring, whatever, as a footnote. That might help, especially when we have multiple minutes. And as well, there were some instances here where wasn't grammatical. The actual, on the Newman Lodge, it didn't actually show the item that we voted on correctly, so I would just ask for the city manager and the clerk to try to get those details down.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners, we have a motion and a second. Karen, would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Vito,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner Banks,
Aye.
Commissioner Burton.
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. Okay, so moved. Going to move on to public comment at this time. Topics that are not listed on the agenda will be heard at this time. Comments regarding public hearing topics will be heard during public hearings. So if you would, I have Diane Sykes, she has asked to speak, and I also have Anna Finley. Anna, would you like to wait until we have the dumpster discussion?
It's all about the dumpster.
Okay. So at this time, Ms. Sykes, if you'd like to come forward, please state your name and your address if you will. And you have 3 minutes. Karen, if you'll.
Diane Sykes, Crescent City. My issue was the parking in the park during the powwow. I'm reading here right from our city ordinance, section 5.2, vehicle usage and parking. Parking areas for loading and unloading only, parking in designated lots only, parking after hours prohibited. And I believe I've been to all the Crescent City Commission meetings, and I don't recall the commission voting to allow violation of the city ordinance in order for the powwow to park in a park. I think the destruction of the grass and the potential destruction of the water system is a problem, and that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. For clarification, Charles, do we have a water system? Do we have a sprinkler system?
There is a sprinkler system there, and this item is actually an agenda item.
Yeah, it's an agenda item, but I like it. Okay, does anybody else at this time, I know you haven't filled out a card, but is there anybody else that would like to come forward and has anything that they need to share in public comments? Okay, seeing no one come forward, I'm gonna go ahead and close out public comments. And then Captain Esser, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll be pretty quick, so I'll try to get to it as quick as I can. If you need to slow me down, you can do so. Looks like we had a pretty good month here in Crescent City. Here's our 2024 briefing for those crimes that are, I'm fixing to show you. We did have a total of 16 reports that were reported, I believe 8 of those were drug cases, so, 8 reports were reported in Credit City for, miscellaneous things. Traffic crash day, we had 2 traffic crashes, one there at Summit Central and one at Magnolia Avenue where people was leaving the parking lot of the post office and pulled in the path of another, pulled out in front of somebody and there was an accident there. No injuries.
The, Summit and Central, which way was who ran the light, which way were they going?
You got me there. Okay. You got me there. Most of them are the left-hand turns, but you got me there. I'll get back to you on that. Just send me an email, I'll tell you what more detail it was.
Interesting.
I'm trying. Okay, there we go. Here's our general activity. Shows you the calls for service, traffic stops, traffic accidents, your suspicious vehicles and persons we checked out with and reports. Going with 176 calls for service total. 50 of those were traffic stops, traffic accidents at 2. Suspicious persons vehicles, that's just when I gotta check out with people who are walking around.
Oops.
Trying to get past, can I have a couple more minutes?
You should get some cups out.
26 of those, that was during the festival. So that was a lot to do with that. And then we had, again, I said a total of 16 reports and 8 of those were drug cases. We're seeing a lot of little misdemeanor marijuana cases that were taken and were disposed of that stuff. So maybe there's some legislative changes that are coming and we can maybe do something with that differently later on. Any questions on that?
Mayor, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
The first question is, what was that you said about something and legislative changes? You kind of,
Well, marijuana is still, it's basically somewhat been legalized and it's the drug testing kits, it's very in-depth, but it's still illegal on the federal side. So, but we can't prosecute on the federal side. We're just coming into a lot of issues with the marijuana cards and stuff like that and the containers that it's supposed to.
oh, that was the cards you were talking about, medicinal.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you kind of zipped right through that. So, thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
So, my question is about something that I don't think it shows up here, unless it was a call for service. Several weeks ago, I got a text from a friend, about a situation that she saw taking place down at Dexter Beach. And she was very concerned because when she called the sheriff's office, apparently she was told that because it's our park, it has to do with ordinances and y'all don't enforce that. So apparently the situation was a whole bunch of people swimming down at the swim beach, somebody trying to pull a boat out with a tow rope, probably tearing up the grass, probably the car wasn't where it was supposed to be, and the person who called, she's a grandmother and she knows a lot about children, and she felt like the kids were way in danger with the boat and vehicle and being way too close to kids. And I think Commissioner Burton probably got a call about this too, I don't know. So, that's how it was told to me, and it just concerns me that, you've got all kinds of things going on there.
I did follow up a little bit, because there was a second call made, I think, the weekend.
I got a call too.
Okay. And, of course, I called you guys and your deputy, I don't remember his name, I wish I did. But he called me back and he said, look, I'm looking at all the ordinances in the city, and I don't see one for public beaches. I only see it for private beaches where we can go in and do something about these people, being disobedient along beaches. So of course, it's, I'm not gonna say we're fighting a losing battle, but I do believe, my understanding is not all of our ordinances, I know that we've passed a lot of ordinances that right now really have not been put in the books, or are hard to find. You can't go online and find them?
I specifically found the correct ordinance.
Okay, so you did? Okay, so, has that been taken care of then?
So yes, it has, and it's not just, I don't know if this is the time and place for it, but we're trying to fix a process right now. Nobody is hearing ordinance citations. I'll put it frank. So we're trying to fix that whole that whole situation. I've been in conversation with, your legal counsel. I've been in contact with, I've been talking to the mayor about it, the city manager, and there needs to be some more structure of who is seeing these cases. I spoke to, Matt Reynolds at the courthouse since then to see if we can get a time that the judge can see some of these cases. And really, there's no process that went away a long time ago.
Okay.
So in real world looking at, we issued a citation. The citation goes to gets issued to the individual. We get a copy of said citation. And if they challenge that citation, it's up for the city commission to appoint them general counsel. So if that would be your general counsel or whoever, so then we set a court date. And in that court, they get to explain their case, and then the judge officially rules, hey, yes, they have to pay the citation. Generally speaking, somebody comes and pays the citation. Best case scenario, we don't even have to issue the citation. We give them a warning, we don't have to worry about it again. These individuals back down on the beach, I don't know why, trying to retrieve a kayak and got stuck.
Oh, yeah,
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
no thought process going on.
and how they got, and I believe they went right through the gate.
Mhm.
So they just opened up the gate, drove the truck in there and tried to retrieve this boat. So yes, and also as a follow-up to that, I've had some training with my sergeants. They are aware of all of the ordinances, they have that, and we have a process to be able to go ahead and issue a citation. That process is they issue the citation, they notify me by email that they've issued a citation, and then I take care of that process from there. So once we get it established.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Now, I have another question on another issue. I've been getting a few phone calls from different people that live, along Grove Bay, right in the Harry Banks, Park area, that there's been some mischief going on around there.
The fences?
The fences, I guess there's been a few fights, I don't really know, but I don't see any of that kind of reported here either. You guys, I know you've been called, and I know you've gone, and I'm not sure what you're doing with all of that right now.
So a lot of that is, we see the fights usually happen, and when they hear the people coming, they hear us coming, everybody's going, nobody wants to tell us anything.
Right.
That's mostly what we see. But if there is a battery, an actual crime that's taking place, we document that stuff. And I see if something is reoccurring, that's when I utilize the resources that I have with our street crimes unit, our crime suppression unit, or whatever additional resource I need. And again, if it's something that is a issue that's gonna be in the community that I think is gonna be put them in danger, obviously it's gonna go out on social media and I'm gonna make the right people aware. As many cars I know as fights, that's something I'm gonna have to research for you, because I'm not seeing the reports on it. Could we have calls on that type of stuff, because it's hard to go through every single call. But if it is an issue, I can narrow it down and see if there really is a problem there. I haven't seen anything, my guys usually tell me when there's issues, when you're having fights every weekend or whatever the case may be, we're just not seeing that. And I give an example of going back to the Catfish Festival. Had a block party on Bay Lane.
Okay.
Everybody done exactly what we asked. A gentleman actually come out to me and said, hey, what time do you want this shut down? I said 10 o'clock. He said, everybody will be gone at 9:45. They were gone.
Mhm.
So we're getting nothing but compliance from the community. And quite frankly, I don't see an issue over in that area.
Okay, no, the citizens are seeing this, I'm not gonna say that it's every night, every day, all this kind of thing, but there are occurrences of it. And the other complaint that I get from over there as well, you got some cars that speed along pretty quick
Yes.
along Grove. And I brought this up to the commission, I think our last meeting, they're talking, they want something I hate, speed bumps, but that's what they really want on Grove Avenue. And of course, that's a discussion for us to take up.
They work.
But yeah, I was gonna say, you are aware of it, I know you're aware of it.
Yes, we've had a lot of changes lately. One was our pursuit policy. We now can chase vehicles. There are some criteria and circumstances there, but we do have our chase policy back in place now. That has deterred a lot of the activities that we've seen, because what people normally done in the past would come down Bay Lane, they would be doing their burnouts or whatever, in their rental cars that are the 800 horsepower, whatever, and we don't stand a chance anyway, off they go. So hopefully that'll deter a little bit, but that is a little bit of a challenge over there.
Okay. I figured you were aware of it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, the speed bumps will have to discuss.
It works sometimes.
Thank you.
I think as we move forward, that it would be important, Karen, as clerk, if we pass an ordinance, would you just make sure that he would be involved, that the sheriff's office would be involved in or have to enforce? If you'll just make sure that he gets a copy of them, so he can share it with his deputies and everybody can be aware of it. We do have vandalism, of course, it's going on over at Harry Banks Park. And I got phone calls on that too, and I went over there and there was a gathering and I was told by a resident that as soon as the deputies show up, they run, and everybody looks happy. But there is some vandalism, would that be considered a misdemeanor or is there okay,
Violation of your ordinances and also it's a crime, criminal mission.
that's what I thought it would be, okay.
Tearing the toilets off the wall, that's a misdemeanor.
Sir?
Tearing the toilets
Oh,
off the
yes,
wall.
yeah, that's vandalism, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is there a price on that? I mean, is there a dollar amount that where the misdemeanor goes up in seriousness or?
It used to be $1,000, now there's been some changes, but anything over $1,000 in damage was a enhanced the crime to a felony.
A felony, so it'd be a third degree felony?
See if that number has changed, yes.
Okay. I think that's
happening.
And speaking of your vandalism and things like that, and some of the things that are going on, we are now looking into some very inexpensive, I'll give a Charles about this, some very inexpensive, some surveillance equipment that actually is being used by the New Orleans Police Department right now. And it's very inexpensive. I can't believe it's that inexpensive. It gives us the opportunity to be able to watch those things that are going on, and we see that stuff going on. We can literally, when I say you can read a decal sticker on a tag from here, it says Winn-Dixie, it's literally that good. So we can see those crimes happen and we can identify those people and charge them later. So it's always a good option.
anything else? Anybody? No. If you want to come forward, yes, I'll allow you to ask a question.
Are you done? I don't think he's done, is he?
I think he's-
Okay.
Are you done?
No, I'm still got it.
Sorry, I didn't finish.
Sorry. And here's your, the crimes that I'm talking about that I spoke about earlier, what we're taking reports on. What I'm reporting to you guys is the robberies, burglaries, vehicle thefts, aggravated assault. That's what's being reported to FDLE, showing what your crime stats are in the city. So again, this month we, had a 100% decrease with a 0.
Yeah.
So this is 6 months worth of the total crimes that are reported to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for the crime rate in Crescent City. And that's what I report on.
Okay.
That's
When you were talking about with the marijuana cards, do they, kind of like some people did, I guess, in college with their driver's licenses, do they validate them? I mean, is there some way to know that they're official?
The cards, you can actually run a number on them and tell you if they're legal.
Okay.
We do that through FCIC and NCIC.
Okay, so there's a way to check it. Do you see where have somebody that shouldn't have the card that has the card?
That would be a medical doctor, so
Okay.
that's, I don't.
I was just wondering when when you're out there and you're checking these.
It's just like anybody else with a prescription, everybody seems like, I mean, they're normal people that have some type of medical condition that
Yeah, counterfeiting,
Here's a
that
counterfeit.
they're counterfeiting,
I'm not seeing them on driver's licenses, but
but not on those, okay. Okay, well, good, that's good.
cloning is probably coming with those two, probably, yeah.
Yes, well, one thing, the federal government gonna make it a lot easier for y'all because they gonna pass it.
Change it.
Yeah.
They gonna change it.
Same.
It's just like they did by the moonshine.
One more on deck now.
Yeah, they made that legal. Yeah.
Ms. Sykes, if you have a question, if you want to come forward and ask your question, please.
I have a couple, actually, there's 2 questions. There's a vagrant, Diane Sykes, Spencer, there's a vagrant hanging out at the Dollar General who is accosting customers who are trying to go in begging for money and stuff.
Is he panhandling?
Yes,
Does he have one leg? Okay.
It's not the one-legged panhandler, no, it's, I know his name, I can give it to the sheriff, I don't know, sit on the speaker. And this is just something I was told when I was up at the park the other day for, the festivities, that there's a man sleeping in the gazebo. Yeah. That's what I was told, so I would like to have the gazebo checked on at night to ensure that we don't actually have somebody out here sleeping. And those are my two.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you good?
I'll take care of both.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna recess our regular meeting and I'm gonna open up our CRA meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only item we have for tonight, we brought back the master plan, the redevelopment plan update. And request is for the CRA board to adopt the update and vision master plan and recommend to the city commission to approve ordinance 2024-01, passing those same documents.
Okay, and this is what we went through in our
So
workshop.
we spent, the workshop on most recently.
Okay, Commissioners, can I get a motion, please?
Don't we have to? Question, don't we have to have first and second reading of these ordinances before they're adopted?
But right now, we're asking as the board to, so we're board right now, that'll come back after.
We're going to make a recommendation to the commission for first reading.
So, and again, motion from someone,
I move that we recommend the adoption of the master plan and or the vision and master plan to the city commission.
And the redevelopment plan update.
And the redevelopment, and the redevelopment plan update.
okay?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, do we have any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
So at the workshop, how did that work? At the workshop, we got the plan the day before the workshop. The plan that was being discussed, and then at the workshop, the city manager brought forward some changes that had been requested. We spent quite a bit of time going over those additional changes. And since then, we've gotten an updated plan since the workshop, both the CRA ordinance update and then the plan, which is, I understand, is an attachment. So I have reviewed both and I have some changes that I'm recommending. So should they be made in the CRA discussion or should they be made during a regular meeting?
Well, you could change it on, you can change it on first reading. If you have support for those changes, and then the change will be made, we publish it before the second reading. So it needs to be done in the regular commission meeting.
Okay, so in other words, we will just accept the plan and then we will talk about any potential changes in the regular meeting.
You wouldn't accept it, you would recommend approval.
Yeah, we're recommending.
At the first reading, that's where we'll discuss it.
Okay? Whatever the motion is.
Okay,
Alright, but I do have some,
okay, now keep in mind,
Yes.
keep in mind that he went through that page by page with us at the workshop. We spent 3.5 hours on that and I
I'm sorry,
stated that any changes that needed to be made really needed to be made in the workshop. I stated that multiple times.
right, well, we had 3 hours of workshop. The document that was before us at the workshop is not the document that is before us today. It's a different document.
And how is it different, Charles?
It has the changes you
The
requested.
changes that we made at the workshop, correct? That was it, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So the changes that were made at the workshop.
Yes, and we did not have time. We listened to quite a few changes.
Oh, we had time.
Unless you don't like your changes,
That's right.
change it again.
Okay, this is first reading. We pretty much used up all our time in the workshop. So I'm just saying, this is first reading. I have some things that we didn't have time to do in the other workshop. We had public comment.
and Commissioner Banks and Commissioner Burton had other obligations, so the workshop was pretty much over. So I just want to know where is the proper place to bring it up.
Okay, right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to vote on this. We have a proper motion and a second to recommend this to the commission, and then we'll open it up in the commission meeting. Karen, if you'll do a roll call for us, please.
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Commissioner Banks,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. Okay, so moved. With that, I'm gonna close out the CRA board meeting and open up, back up our regularly scheduled meeting. Charles, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Again, ordinance 2024-1, an ordinance of the city of Crescent City, Florida, updating the community redevelopment plan, providing for a new vision and master plan, providing for conflicts and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, this is the first reading on the update. You can make changes if you all agree on the changes tonight. I also remind you that redevelopment plan and the update, right after you approve it on final reading, you can start the process of amending it again if you so choose. So adopting this tonight and next month does not set this in stone, never to be changed for the next 7 years. So I would encourage you, I hope you've been through this so many times. You really have a good product, and I think it's a great plan. And hopefully you'll choose to adopt it tonight. If you do want to make changes, we'll have to ask the consultant to make those changes and get them back to us. If we can't get them back in time, we'll have to delay the second reading for another month.
Okay, thank you. So commissioners, you have the first reading of the ordinance in front of you, 2024-01. Make an aim motion, please.
All right, I move that we approve ordinance 2024-01.
Do I have a second?
You got a second, second.
Okay, so we currently have a motion and a second. Commissioners, we're going to discussion at this time.
Can I point out,
Yes.
in the title of the ordinance, it says approving for conflicts, and it needs to be providing.
Oh, I see where you, okay.
Microsoft Word does not spell check all caps. I'll just remind everybody.
You said it was in the,
It's in the title, yeah, provide, it says, ordinance, it should say providing for conflicts. With red light.
And the title, well, there's two providing for conflict and providing for an effective date.
Which one's wrong?
Which one's wrong? The
Providing.
first one,
Oh, the ordinance itself, okay.
yeah, and the ordinance
oh, in the
itself.
ordinance itself, okay.
Yeah,
I was
in the
looking at
ordinance
the
itself.
title.
Okay, do you have anything else?
No, that's it, I was just commenting there.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have anything?
I'm ready to go.
You ready to roll?
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the work that Charles and the consultants put in on this. I think when we had this up before us last month, it was not a finished product yet. I spent a lot of time going through and just doing some nitpicky little corrections, and I've gone through and every single one of them have been made, but also the stuff we talked about at the workshop, and adding those extra projects from the CRA plan from last year, and bringing that stuff over, and I'd like to tell you, you included all that in there, and it was all in the implementation. I mean, I really think that, and the sketches also, the drawings are much improved. Yeah, it's, I really think that this is a polished final product. I'm really comfortable with it now, whereas not last month, so.
Charles, question, we can, in the future, if we want to make some changes, we can go back and amend.
Yes, sir, at any time, with 2 public hearings.
Okay, good.
And two, one of the things that I wanted to point out, sorry, Mayor, is that, this is not our, what we are doing 1, 2, 3, 4 every day. This is a framework, it's an idea, that's why it's a vision. It's what we as a community have come together and discussed and worked with consultants and worked with everyone to kind of get some, common ground on what we want the future of the city to look like. But it's just an idea, ideas change, just like we were telling the seniors here, something happens tomorrow that derails everything, so things can change all the time. But this is something that I know Charles has, repeated that if a developer comes to town and buys a piece of property, says, well, I wanna build this here, we're like, well, we kind of thought that this is what we have in mind, here's our vision, and here's kind of what we want the future of Crescent City to look like, and we would like your buy-in on that. And so it gives us something as a bargaining chip, it gives us something as kind of a roadmap, but just like a roadmap, you can always take detours, so. I like the way that it feels, I like the look of it, I think they did a darn good job, and finally we're at that point where I think it's ready to go across the finish line. I was gonna say past the goal post, but I don't know sports, sorry.
I'd just like to say, I'd like to thank Commissioner Lori for his effort in, rewriting and kind of helping them along, okay, with their vision.
Never done.
It really is a nice finish for us right now. Thank you.
Really is.
I think you touched on, and I think that's something that we need to reiterate over and over and over again. That this is a roadmap. This is not set in stone just because it's here. A lot of this requires a lot of funding that we don't have, but if we had the funding, then possibly we could do this. The former one had, that we were gonna do a paint shop, that we were gonna have a splash pad. I mean, this is in the past, things that they have talked about. There was gonna be exercise equipment on Lake Stella. That didn't happen. However, they had that vision at that time, and possibly it could happen. And this is just a vision as we go forward. So I think there's been some confusion that this is what we're gonna do. And yes, we would like to do this, but
And Mayor, we got the plan for the future, everybody here familiar with 95, everybody here familiar with Interstate 4. They did some poor planning for the future. Now they got construction everywhere. So you got the plan, you just can't sit and wait till the future comes.
Right.
So that's basically what we're doing here. This plan for the future, and hoping we arrive.
We're ready.
Hope we're ready.
so with that, Commissioner DeVito, you said that you had, and we did, I think some of us were willing to sit through we still have quorum and we had 3 here, 2 had to leave, but, I did say over and over again that all changes needed to be made then. So your changes that you're trying to make are,
That I'm trying to make, okay. I would appreciate it, this is first reading, I would like to bring up things that, now that I have a final version, that I've looked at it, and I think the plan would be better, for some changes, and, I know everyone says, well, it's a vision. Actually, a vision is usually brought down into a articulated statement. We don't actually have that here. We have some very nice pictures, so I get the drift. But,
before you go forward though, I am gonna ask your fellow commissioners.
Right.
Because they were there also. At this point in time, we have a motion to accept this. Are we wanting to make any changes to this commission?
I don't know why we've brought up changes, I think this is kind of, I'm done, I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go, start kicking this can, what, 9 months now?
Well, you guys, we awarded the contract last year, May of last year. I wasn't here, but I was there. But this has been a long project. And we had another additional workshop. I sat there for all of it right next to you. And it got to, I don't know how much more we can take of this. I'm sorry, with all due respect. And I know we have other things on this agenda that need to be passed. I don't know how much more sitting here and hemming and hawing over small details are gonna really make this any better. I don't know.
well,
That's my
there,
feeling.
Okay.
so they're not small details. We did not vote at the workshop that we could not have changes at first reading. I have never heard of changes not being able to be offered at first reading.
We can't even, we're not supposed to vote on changes at the workshop. And I would like to remind you that, at the January meeting, I had changes that I wanted to bring forward, and you said, not now. We're not doing this now. And when I tried to send them to the planners, I'm sorry, I'm not finished. I've been told that I am not allowed to offer amendments. And frankly, we're spending more time talking about the time for amendments is over than we would if you just took a list.
So commissioners, what I'm gonna recommend to you is that you allow Commissioner Topeka 5 minutes. Can you get those changed, can you put that in there in 5 minutes, and then we'll have to look at whether or not you're in agreement with her changes. Can you do that in 5 minutes, Commissioner Topeka?
I will do my best. Most of them,
Is the commission in agreement with that?
Start the clock.
Okay, that clock only goes 3 minutes, so.
No,
do 6.
We'll go, but it's fine.
okay, so on the page that says capital improvements, and, no,
Are you talking about the
Okay.
CRA?
yes, this is the amendment to the, this is ordinance 2024-01 that amends the CRA plan.
So you're talking about the CRA plan amendment?
Yes, and so this is 4 pages from the end. Okay, I'm sorry, Bobby, can we have sidebars?
I just asked them no sidebars, Commissioner Topeka, please go forward, I'm trying to find the page.
You're
So
under
I
design,
ask you.
you're under design, capital improvements.
Yes. So, my suggestion is, it says design and install entry features at the north and south ends of the CRA. I mentioned in the workshop, I think it would be more appropriate and create more of a sense of place to install appropriate signs designating the location of the historic district. On transportation, where it says mid-block crosswalks on Highway 17. Under that, reduction of speed limit on Highway 17 in downtown. I would add to that, and other commercial and residential areas on US 17 in the CRA. Because I brought up at the workshop, that the people who live near Winn-Dixie have asked for both the crosswalk and reduction of speed limit previously. So I would like to include not only lower the speed limit downtown, but on other areas of 17 where commercial and redevelopment areas are. As well, get rid of downtown, blah, blah. Under historic preservation on the next page, we only talk about public assets. We do not talk about actually preserving our National Register Historic District. I think to create a sense of place, we should preserve our National Register Historic District and also promote rehabilitation and renovation of privately owned, which actually churches are privately owned commercial projects such as the Spray House. And as well, under community policing innovations, which was added in the workshop, it says, first line, community policing innovations may be initiated to target criminal activity within the CRA. I would like to strike target criminal activity and replace that with promote public safety and perception of public safety.
Is that it?
Then on the next page, on the very last page where it says engaging downtown stakeholders, there's a listing of the downtown stakeholders, and in response to my request at the workshop, there are 3 additional ones listed. I would just put those at the top of the list.
Okay.
Is that it? Yes.
Now those changes we can make quickly and easily and go out with the packet.
Okay. So commissioners, you have a motion, I'm gonna need somebody to amend their motion if they want to accept these. Otherwise, we'll vote on the original motion without these changes.
Commissioner Lori.
Is this my motion?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look over this. The historic, I don't know, I don't think that those are, I mean, I'm sticking with my motion.
You sticking with your motion?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would not like to, replace target criminal activity with promote public safety under.
That was your addition that he had it in and added.
No, I
to the
didn't,
Workshop.
I didn't write it.
You asked for it last month and he added it at the workshop. You
Yes.
had a chance to look at it before the
I
workshop.
thought that was your language.
No, it wasn't on that.
I'm not sure.
So you're saying we don't want to improve it, we'll just,
I don't
you know,
think the community policing needs to be in there.
So we have a motion on the floor right now. Call the question, please.
Okay. Well, we've got to open it up, I've got to open it up to public comment. So at this time, I'm gonna open this up to public comment. Please come forward if you would like to speak to this. State your name and your address if you will, please. Aaron, you've got a clock. Okay, no one's coming forward. With that, commissioners, then we currently have a motion that Commissioner Lori has and a second by Commissioner Banks. And that Commissioner Lori has said he wants to stay with his original motion.
and I have a question for for Bobby Pickens, our attorney.
Okay.
So, a couple questions. When this document was produced, the one, I guess, that appeared at the last workshop, this has been a bit of a moving target. At the very end of the workshop, apparently it was brought up to us or disclosed to us that Commissioner Lori's changes, this 5 hours worth of changes, had been incorporated into the document. And only 2 were brought forward to us, or 2 changes were brought forward to us. The city manager said that the changes were technical. I looked through there, not all of the changes were technical. Those were never circulated to the public or to the rest of the commission until after the workshop. Then today, the document that we're actually looking at that came from the workshop, the consolidated document, was presented to the rest of the commission yesterday and apparently made available to the public online this morning. Is that an appropriate way for us to make changes to our documents and to make them available to the public?
I answered this in email to you earlier in the week, and I said that in a perfect world, or my suggestion would be that those changes that are made by a commissioner and then they're incorporated in the document are made known in the meeting. And then as far as the only legal requirement is that the ordinance is fully intact with no changes 10 days prior to adoption.
And that would be the second reading, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we did have the document, it came in late, I believe they got it in there for the last one, didn't they?
This final version?
Not the final version, the one we had at the workshop.
Yeah, the workshop was called on the document you had in your packet last month. That's what you were workshopping. As courtesy, I did all the corrections, mostly spelling check and name, street name changes, so forth, that Commissioner Lori sent me. So you had to work with that, from that, to make that available. And those changes came in just the week before, so, Ayers and Associates they turned it around as quickly as they could. And so then you worked with that at the workshop, but the workshop was on the document you received in April at your commission meeting. You were to provide me with your changes to that document.
So I got one more question.
Yes.
Are we using Robert's rules?
Right now,
Are we using Robert's rules?
I'm going to take it to a vote, okay? I'm taking it to a vote. Close out public comment. Karen, at this point in time, if you would do a roll call, please.
Commissioner DeVito?
Nay.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so passes.
First reading of ordinance 2024-2, an ordinance of the city of Crescent City, Florida, amending the budget for fiscal year 2023-24, 2024, providing for administrative action, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, this item is what's typically an annual mid-year adjustment. We didn't make a mid-year adjustment last year, which is one of the reasons we have so much more money to redistribute. Effectively, we're under budget and have been for several years in a row. So what we find is we have funds that have not been designated for particular expenditures. So what you do in mid-year is you make adjustments based on, particularly on those items you didn't anticipate well. For instance, our insurance expenses, cities all across Florida, and our associations are complaining 100%, 200% increases in their insurance, and we're no exception. So I've been asking for months from our finance team for how much do we have undesignated. That would be that for last year, the revenue that exceeded expenditures, and then anything we brought forward even from the year before, since we didn't adjust the budget. If you recall, several years ago, we did a big adjustment. We didn't spend all that money either, so that money just keeps rolling forward. In the past, they just put it in that reserve, what they call reserves, and that's why we have $1 million there. And you all set up policies that anything over $1 million, we can incorporate it into the budget. So I look for that number and then looking for months. The reason we didn't have it is because previous finance director was not familiar with software. There were a lot of entry errors, double entries, and kind of made a mess of things. So our CPA has been sorting through that, had to go back before that to the last audit and begin to look at every single entry and journal entry and so forth to figure out what the real number is. So she's not quite finished with that process. So what she said to us is, she's comfortable giving us $400,000 undesignated funds that we can designate into the budget. So I knew we had a discussion on the backhoe, which was about $130,000. I knew we had the insurance costs came in probably 100% more than we budgeted. I knew we had some workman's comp. Our claims were a little higher this year. Again, we just estimate those. We can't know what those would be. And then I had a few lines that were over in expenses. There were things like we have 3 sewer projects. We patched the road. We need to patch the road. We have a driveway apron where we tore it up to do a repair. We need to patch it back. So I knew we needed some streets, materials money, so forth. So I took the $400,000, I put it there where I knew we needed it. I still had some left, so I looked at, those few lines that are a little bit over to make those corrections. I'll explain those, we'll go through them. And then finally, I looked at some lines that were almost over. Maybe right about now, they should be about 50%, maybe they were at 75% or 80%. So that, I'll put the money there in case it's needed. Again, this doesn't mean this money will be spent tomorrow, just allocates it so we don't have undesignated funds beyond $1 million that you require us to keep. So I'll start on page 5 of 17. If you all have the amended, I hope you have the amended version I sent out. What we did was I asked Steve to look over the insurance estimates and workman's comp, and he did increase them a little bit. So I had to take some money away from some other lines. So I'll show you that. So the first one is the city commission budget. There's a line called other. We had budgeted $1,500 and we spent $2,120. That's because we didn't, the 2 Dells that are here on the counter, we had to buy the computers, we had to buy the software, 2 software subscriptions each. So those kind of expenses, but also 2 times we served lunch to the commission and workshops, so that all comes out of other. So it was really the computers that put us over, but it was something that needed for the commission. So I'm asking to put $1,000 in there. The next line is my, this is city manager, actually city manager and clerk budget. The Medicare expenses were over what was projected, so we need to add some money there. The pension, what happened in the pension plan, when you hired me, my contract stipulates that where normal employees get 5% of their salary put in our pension plan, I was given 10% of my salary. And what I thought that was happening, what I found out in meeting with our pension representative recently is they don't allow anything more than that cap. So we haven't been putting the extra 5% in my pension. Now in October, your contribution went up to 8.5%. So I've only been short 1.5% since October. So we're calculating how much I didn't get, and the city will directly deposit that into a Roth or some other mechanism, this pre-tax contribution. So that's why I put extra money in there to cover that unbudgeted. That should have been coming out all along, and it hasn't.
So that 10,000, is that to cover what's owed according to your contract?
I believe so. I tried to just do a quick calculation. They're still doing the math. But we're collecting all the minutes showing the increases, all the backup of the auditors, so that we have all the material necessary to show that.
We have that, I know, where there's only a certain amount allowed to be contributed, so we run into that too.
So going forward, we'll put the 8.5% into our employee pension and 1.5% into this other fund that was set up.
Mayor,
Yes.
so just to clarify, so the makeup funds, before, you mentioned a cap. So our pension capped you at 5%, and that's what you were receiving?
That's what was being put on my behalf into the pension fund.
So going forward, and we've raised the pension contribution to 8.5%. So going forward, you said the 1.5% is going to be put into a non-pension IRA on your behalf, correct?
Correct.
But there will be, the makeup funds, those will also go into the non-pension IRA.
Correct.
Okay,
Because we're all so being on that.
to make up the difference, and that has yet to be set up, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
So in the travel per diem, we had budgeted $2,000, we're at $2,366. And most of that was getting Karen through her certifications, something I thought was important. So I have two conferences coming up. Generally, I drive back and forth. I don't get a hotel room, but I may need to for those. So I want to put more money there. The office supplies, we're gonna stick with the budget, $1,000. We were not over, but we'll just curtail our expenses there. IT support and contracts, you'll see, that's in every department. What that is, there's two bills. We get a bill every month for our contract. That has not changed. It doesn't go up. It's the same every month.
What is that bill?
I think it's about $1,200, isn't it $1,200? Is that ring a bell? IT bill.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think it's like $1,200 a month. And that's for this, continue to have an employee, we have this contract, and Mark comes to us.
It was much less expensive to do it that way than to have an IT employee.
Exactly. And so what the variable is, on the support is when we buy new laptops, we bought a number of them to enable employees to have remote access. And when we buy that, we have to buy a subscription for the technology that allows for that secure remote access. We have to buy Microsoft 365, or whatever. We have to buy Adobe for some of them. So we buy subscriptions. So those have been increasing. And then whenever we need new hardware, new something, whether it's a rack for the equipment or something else, we go in that line. So, and as you'll see under utility billing, some additional admins training got put in there. We had admins come here for 2 days to train the staff. That was important. That was $3,000. So in this line, that's not the case. It's not quite over budget. It's, we budgeted $4,000, it's at $3,500. But, I'm asking for $1,000, just, I'm not sure what those, subscriptions are and so forth, the upcoming expenses. The employee incentives, that is what we typically pay for the Christmas party and other things for the employees. And one year we bought some mugs for the employees, other swag. This year, that was one thing that we cut at the last minute in the budget process, and we didn't leave enough money even for the Christmas party. So we spent $1,000, and that was the Christmas party. And I'm asking for $2,100 in there, because one thing that I'd like to do, in the past I just pay for it myself, take the departments to lunch, just as a way to say thank you and to create camaraderie and so forth.
Morale, it helps with your morale, and I'll say something about it.
I thought I'd put it in here instead of on my credit card. And then the finance department. Again, the workers' comp, that was an estimate, and we're not over budget, but it looks like we're very close. So a little more money there. I'm not sure how the claims are gonna go. Office supplies is $123 over budget. Again, ask for a little money there. Finance tends to buy a lot of things that I think other people use. And then again, IT support, you see there, not over budget yet. but I want to make sure, we're still in that process of modernizing our technology at the city hall. And then here you see general insurance. This is one of the insurance that's over memberships and dues. We had $1,000. We're not over budget there, but we wanted get Steve memberships. And actually, what number do you have there for the memberships and dues?
I have, we're at 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah, 500,
45.
4,500.
Yeah, that's what it should be. That's 4,500.
Wait, on page 7?
Yeah.
Page 7, line 105, 4,500, because we want to bring Edmonds back for a couple days to train him.
That would,
That's very important.
That would be the, okay.
It'll be just one-on-one training on our software to get him up to speed. That's $3,000 for those 2 days, plus some travel expenses. And then we've got him signed up for some training in Tallahassee for basic government finance training, and there's e-trim for the trim notice and training coming up, a lot of training going on, so I want to make sure we have that covered. And then the audit fees, you'll notice, you've noticed in every department, we spread the audit throughout the general fund, and it's all over because we've been in a continuous audit for nearly 2 years. So normally, the audit's due by the end of June, so usually by July, you're done paying, your audit's paid for, you're done, and then your next audit starts in January. And our audit just rolls right 2 years in a row. It's been 12 months a year because of the complexity of our audit. So that's why we're paying more for the audit. So the goal is we finish this year on time. Right now, we're looking at finishing on time. And then, so we'll stop paying. And this year, we're paying for this year's audit and then the ending of last year's audit. And the goal is that'll come to an end this year and we'll be.
And with the audit, I think we need to clarify also for the public so they understand, because there's a lot of comments out there about we need to be audited, we need to be audited. We are audited every year.
Every single year. It's a very
Every single
extensive
year.
audit.
A very extensive audit that takes months and months and months, and they go through line by line, and it's with a very reputable company that services quite a few municipalities, so.
Page 8 is legal. This is the outside legal expenses that we've had, $31,185. We knew that was unbudgeted going into the year. We didn't know how much it was gonna be. So I've asked for $35,000 in that line.
But Mayor, if I could,
Yes.
okay, Charles, I sent you this in email that I think you distributed to everyone. The footnote down here says, the second sentence, the category, I think that $35,000 is still in the wrong category. Other legal services, 112, covers the anticipated legal fees for the commissioners. Isn't that what the $35,000 is for? Other legal fees for commissioners?
You wanna move it up to line 112.
Well, I mean, according to the footnote, that would be where it goes.
Right, because outside legal counsel, as Bobby told us last year when we did the budget, that's for counsel to assist the city attorney with city business. So yes, according to the footnote, the $35,000 belongs in 112, other legal services.
Did you make that move?
Yeah, the expenditures need to be moved to, I'm actually. Okay.
Page 9 is utility billing, customer service. Again, we had worked with comp, not over budget, but it's very close. IT support, we need more funds, and then the operating supplies, just a little bit, $94 over. I added some more money there because we switched the stamp machine, and I want to make sure that Jocelyn, if she needs more supplies or something for that, has what she needs.
On the, can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
On the IT support, you were saying that one of those costs was licensing. Is that what the next line is for? Is that being broken up properly?
Yeah, I have to look back at the detail and make sure they're assigning that monthly bill properly. That monthly bill should be part of support.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the problems that some of us have is it should be like the IT, contractor is charging us more and it's not. It's, there's extra expenses with the licenses and software, which should really go to the next line, just a comment.
Page 10 is our planning and zoning. We contracted, we have a contractor, $40,000 is our budget. We're at just under $30,000 right now. But we have we have 5 or 6 projects in the pipeline. Now we pass through the cost of the review to the applicant, but that's not every time Mark researches, does stuff for us, it costs us money. So, I've asked for $30,000 there just to cover us, with all the things that are coming up. In fact, when he comes next month, we do the land development code, we're charged for that time, for those meetings and so forth, so.
When, just the difference in your city manager report with that on there, I mean, his activities this month are
Yeah.
like twice as long as they were last month.
We're finally keeping him busy.
Yeah.
That's something, yes.
I have a question about the planning and zoning. So, one of the questions I asked in my email was, is part of the consulting fee for the land development code activities, and you said yes, because we went beyond the contract. I don't understand how we could go beyond the contract, because they had a proposal, they gave us the analysis of what needed to be done. It was my understanding they were doing that. Sometimes they come with the wrong information. Could we have a breakdown of what is actually being paid to them? I noticed when I sign checks, it's just like one bill. It doesn't totally break out. Because it's just not clear to me how we could have a contract for the land development code and then somehow we're paying them for more.
Well, because we went way beyond the scope, the number of meetings we've had, the analysis, the hours of meetings is all beyond what they anticipated it would be, or it has been traditionally. So we've been at that for over a year, and they figured it'd be a few months to be done.
Now,
And that's we want those extra meetings,
which meetings are we talking about? So,
planning and zoning,
well, planning and
commission
zoning,
workshops,
but those meetings, what do they entail?
going through line by line.
As far as the land, code, land development code
Yes.
and all of that kind of stuff. So people just understand where that time has been spent,
Yes.
rather than just saying at a meeting, you know? Because we come here, a lot of people don't think we spend our time very wisely here. But just saying that, you know, people need to understand that it's time consuming.
It is.
The REIT originally, the timeline was originally to have it adopted, I think, in last October.
Yeah,
And we're getting closer maybe to doing that in the next few months.
But it's not necessarily been, there's no deviation from the game plan.
But there is a deviation, you spend a lot more time going
Okay.
through it. and-
But, excuse me, wasn't that some of the issues were with the quality of their work, what they presented to us, I don't know, I don't think it followed the diagnostic review, and it didn't take into account, our local codes, our local situation, so I have a problem with us going way above and beyond what was in that original contract. They're planners, they should know what it takes to adopt a code, and it doesn't seem to me we've done anything extraordinary, and there have been issues with the quality of their work.
I think as we go forward, Charles was asking to make sure he puts that breakdown. And as we go forward, you know, as we get busier and busier, we might have to at some point look at, do we need to bring a planner on?
Yes, this number, we'll reach a number, right now, even this combination, we would get a planner one with no experience.
Planner one, yeah.
With benefits and everything, so.
What benefits and
Yeah,
everything.
without-
But maybe next year, the year after, it depends on what happens, that, you know, we'll just have to visit that at that time.
So the next page 11 is, it's what we call City Hall now, it used to be called GF Other, General Fund Other. It's like a catch-all for things, in the past, they weren't sure which department to charge it to. So in here, we have a professional services line, and that's where they're taking our CPA services from. So I'll point out, we budgeted 7,000, we spent 21,488. But if you notice back under the finance expenditures, the salary, it doesn't have it on here, the former finance director's salary, we only spent $6,000 for the year.
Of the
So,
94.5.
so it's
And basically that, we don't normally have a CPA.
Correct.
She's been helping out and kind of covering and keeping us going, which has been valuable.
she's really, yeah, she's filled in.
So we're still at savings there.
We're still at savings. Again, more audit expenditures as we spread that out over the departments. And again, liability insurance, you can see there, we budgeted 15,000. We spent 26,897 in this department. Building repair and maintenance, and I got a breakdown on that.
And this is all within the general fund, correct?
This is all general.
Okay,
It's
so
all
we need to make sure everybody understands that this is still
Yeah,
within
this
the
is
general fund.
We had a lot of building repair that we didn't anticipate.
We have the leakage.
Yeah, we had a leak at the annex, which caused a mold issue, and we tested for mold, which triggered a test for this building. We had an AC unit go out in this building, and 2 units go out in the county annex. So all that has just accumulated into running us over budget. So I'm asking for,
The county was a shared cost, wasn't it?
they did share one of those, yeah. So I'm asking for another $15,000 in there as we continue. We're not planning to renovate this building anymore because of the intention to move, but just to keep it functional.
As far as talking about air conditioning units, do we have someone on staff that is an AC tech that maintains those? Because that's a big part of keeping those ACs running, is making sure those drain lines stay clear. I mean, it's Florida.
Yeah.
They all get green and gunky, and that's the biggest thing that'll kill them. I just,
We need to probably just have a service contract, yeah, and not unemployed.
just checking out about a month, every few months would make a big difference.
Beautification line, that's another one that we chopped at the very end of the budget process. And I spent, of the 772, I spent 2629. Some of that was, some of the Christmas decorations and lights last year. I found out we couldn't pay them with CRA. Same thing with one order of banners, and put it in beautification, as well as plants and mulch.
But the expenditures never went over $1,000.
Correct. Yeah. So asking for another $8,000 to continue beautification. Accounts, billing software, big part of that is our annual Edmunds. We have an annual expenditure, I forget what that's called, the software updates. And I want to make sure that we don't have anything else, any surprises there. And then office supplies, I took that one out, we're under budget there, on line 162. Page 13 is fire. Again, the FICA went over there, and that's because of our volunteer incentive program. We pay more if you work over a certain number of hours, and we've been very successful with that, so we had increased cost of FICA.
Do we pay FICA on the regular 4 hours?
We do, I think, because we pay them, if they work over something, we pay them $50 an hour, but we have to take FICA out of it. So it reaches the threshold. So we're only over a few $100s there, but I want to make sure we don't continue over the rest of the year. Same thing, workman's comp, insurance, same reasons. Vehicle repair and maintenance, that is just for our, not for the trucks. The county takes care of the maintenance on the big trucks. We take care of the SUV and the smaller vehicles. Same thing with equipment repair, a little bit over on equipment repair and maintenance in the fire department, so we want to ask for a little more money.
But the apparatus and all that, all the breathing equipment, all that stuff, that county.
County takes care of all that, but like the boat's broken, we actually worked out, they're gonna fix our boat. But the chief did some work around the station, so we need a little bit more money. And then again, IT support's not over budget, but I wanna make sure we don't run over there. And then page 14, retirement. For code enforcement, that's because her hours increased to 30 hours a week. So that we didn't reflect that change in the retirement evidently, so we're not over there, but we're running the edge. And then Public Works, Workman's Comp, slightly over there at mid-year because we underestimated. Same thing with insurance, tree maintenance, we're $1,200 over because we've done, more tree work this year than we had in a number of years. And we do have, some more tree work we'd like to do. So asking for another $5,000 there, to continue that work. And, one of the things we need to do, we're having, raise the canopy a little bit around the streets. The fire truck is having, issues in a few of the streets and so forth, so, we contract all that, most of that work out. Equipment repair and maintenance is not over budget, but it's very close because our new employee Lloyd is Mr. Fix-It. He's been fixing everything out in the shop that had been sitting around and been repaired, little engines and big stuff. So I want to give him a little more money. And then street repair supplies. This is of the $8,000, we've spent $1,276. So we're currently bidding out 4 asphalt jobs. As well as there's a possibility the stormwater issue we have over on Lake Street, we might be able to do a little fix on the boulevard with some asphalt and concrete and some grading to catch the water in the drain that's already there. We might save the $170,000 that we have in Better Place for that project. So we're gonna make those changes. I think we can pay for it here and see if we can use Better Place money, that money for something else. And then this capital outlay, that's an old budget line that I put the backhoe in, that's $130,000 for the canopy backhoe. And then page 16, it's just workman's comp and Parks and Recreation, not over budget, but we're very close. We had more claims.
It's just across the board, everything was.
Yeah, we had 4 claims that we illustrated. And then the last page just shows that, the highlight is the fund balance.
Okay, commissioners, is that the end of your presentation?
That's everything.
Okay, commissioners, I'll entertain a motion. We can have discussion.
I move that we approve ordinance 2024-02, budget amendments. For general fund budget amendment.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a proper motion and a second. Commissioners, do we have any discussion? Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Keegan.
I have questions. So, one question I asked you was, what is our balance in the Better Place Planning Fund?
I haven't heard back yet from, Julianne what the balance is.
Okay, because then the other thing I asked was potentially we could take, we could pay for part of the backhoe from Better Place if there was sufficient funds and part from the general fund, correct?
We could, I'm just not confident in how much the balance is in the Better Place at this point. And we anticipate not spending as much on the stormwater project, but we don't know yet.
Okay, and so also, commissioners, if you read the city manager's responses to my email questions, it turns out, so I was a little concerned because in this budget, most of the added funds come exactly up to the $400,000 that's basically what we call colloquially carryover. And so I was very concerned that we were running behind in our budget because we need, I guess, the top areas where we are, we're spending more than we allocated were liability insurance, IT, and it turns out that's IT licenses, is that correct?
And some hardware, you know, we bought laptops and,
For the commissioners.
well, also for some staff to work remotely.
Okay, so additional laptops, and do we have a contract for the laptops that we buy? Do we buy those from our IT provider?
No, we go online, get the best deal we can.
Okay, got it. So we have those, so we have IT licenses and equipment, we have liability insurance, and there's one more that's really big. Well, workers' comp actually isn't that much, audit, right. So, but it turns out,
we need these extra funds and it comes up to $400,000, but we are actually, to date, we're about 7 months into the current year, right?
Well, we're always a month behind on the paperwork, so it's 6 months.
Exactly half, right. So you were saying that, we're, actually, we have $167,000 that was budgeted but not spent at the 6 month mark, is that correct?
Correct, we're under budget by about $167,000.
Okay.
So the budget, meaning that
We're in the black.
we're in black.
Okay, because, you know, that really, when you look at the ordinance, when you look at what was posted in the packet, there was no way really for us to know that. And so it looks like, it looked like we were kind of, you know, running short of funds, but you're saying we're not because 6 months and we're $167,000 in the black. And this is all general fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the one remaining question that I have besides, I do think we need to see a copy of the auditor's contract. Because, you know, we signed a contract that said, how much we were to pay them every year. And it was a rather large amount and increasing each year. And you're confident that the bills that have been sent in are for services over and above what's required in the contract?
For services rendered.
Okay, do they, I don't know, to me, I'm not quite understanding this, because if we have a contract, and they're not providing services over and above, I mean, we budget according to what the contract price was.
We did initially, and they're doing, I believe, they're doing more than, they've been gracious. They'll be doing more than we contracted them to do to help us get through the audit. They've been very patient with us.
Okay, and then, I'm not understanding, like, some of these items have gone over, particularly I remember for the air conditioner repair, that came before the commission, and we discussed that and we approved that. But there are quite a few items that have gone over the amount we budgeted for the year, or at least some items. But those don't get brought back to the commission when you're going over the budget item?
No, there's no budget amendment necessary unless we want to move money from parks to finance. That would require a budget amendment, but within a department, we can move the money. But I don't do that. My policy has been, I think we were not getting a true picture of our expenses. So I've said this before, we run out of small engine money.
Right.
And we needed a small engine repair, we would take it out of other. So when we look back at the year, we didn't see that. We really need to put a little more money in small engine repair because the number didn't reflect what we really spent. It had been put in other things. I believe it wasn't good practice. So at least for the time being, we're letting things go into the red a little bit so we can see that maybe we need to look at that at budget time and see if we're allocating enough money in that line. And then we look at the ones that have money left over every year, and we can see, let's pull it out of there and push it down into small engine repair.
And then with Julianne, making sure that things are going into the correct category, because.
Yeah, that's a
been
constant
an issue. That's
issue
been an
of getting down to where we actually put the line number instead of saying, put this in other, and ends up in the wrong other. Or,
So that doesn't help us.
Yeah.
Sure, the budget.
Right, but I guess and this is for the commission, you know, we make some decisions during the year. We decide, we have workshops and we decide that so much money goes into each department and so much money goes into each line item. I'm not quite sure I understand what the purpose is of us doing individual line items, if they just change. I mean, some of them are quite a bit more than we allocated.
And before we beat anybody up, I think we all need to recognize, I know, but we need to recognize
Right.
that our finance department has had multiple hands in it, with everybody having a different opinion of where this item should go, where that item should go. And with Julianne, thankfully, finally, we have somebody who understands it, and she's gone through it, but for the last couple of years, unfortunately, through Clarion, through the various people that
aware of
we've
that.
had, I mean, so I feel like we are finally, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
No, I understand that, but and I understand what the city manager is saying, that some areas like workers' comp, you have to pay that, other areas are more discretionary. So, this is just being handled differently. And so my next question for really for the city manager is, are we required to pass this amended budget tonight? If we don't pass it tonight, are you not able, to go forward and spend money?
No, you don't have to pass it tonight. The urgency of it was to get the backhoe money, to figure out where that's coming from. The guys have been really missing the equipment, so.
Right.
Because we already circled, the old back is broken.
It's broken, yeah, it's out.
It's out of
service. Yeah.
It's just out of service, and somebody did recommend the Bobcat. And I talked to Keith about it and the difference, and he did say that the depth,
Yeah,
the
the
backhoe can go.
backhoe can go 17 feet down, and the Bobcat can only go about 9 feet to dig a hole, so, it's a big difference. Yeah. Also, the other things like we're ready to let the asphalt bids, to do the patching, because, we wanna keep moving, so that's why I brought this forward.
And what kind of runtime or waiting time are we anyways to get a new backhoe? I mean, right now, we authorized it tonight, I mean, how long is it gonna, if you guys place the order?
And maybe on the lot, I don't.
So why would we, Commissioner DeVito, what would be the delay?
Well, typically, when there's, the $400,000 is about, 20% of our general fund budget. So typically, when we have that amount of money to disperse, we have a little more time than a week to look at it. I remember when we had $150,000 of carryover, then City Manager Patrick Kennedy let us know about a month or two ahead of time and, said to the commissioners, we're the policymaking, we are the policymakers that said, this is how much money I anticipate having. Where, do you have any ideas about where we might spend it? And I know at the end of last year, when we formed this budget, there were some items that there was no money for. So I guess my suggestion is that we take a little time, other than the things that are needed immediately, like the backhoe and the patching, correct? The asphalt patching, that perhaps we approve those and give this a more careful look and have a chance to see whether there are any other things that got passed over that should be considered, before we just disperse everything through the different, line items.
Well, there will be a second reading next month, but if you were to change it then, it would delay to a third reading. But then a month later, we show you the draft of the new budget, so it's.
Yeah,
we're right up against it.
Right, but
Optimal, we should have done this in March and April.
Yeah, this will be done.
right, so, well, speaking of second reading, so my question is, should we, apart from the budget amendment, should we go ahead and approve the expenditure for the backhoe and so that could be purchased?
That's on the agenda, actually.
Right, okay, well, I'm just saying, so we have, that's in there.
So
And-
Commissioner DeVito, do you have anything in here that you've seen that where you think the money should go, where he hasn't already allocated it?
Well, this is a very heavy agenda. I don't even have before me what we passed over the last time. And also, I think we should look a little more closely about what we're spending for the audit. I would like to confirm what's in the contract versus what they're being paid, before we say, just go ahead and add more money in, because they're getting quite a bit of money.
I think if we put this in here, though, just because we put it in there doesn't mean it's gonna be spent.
But we're giving authorization for it to be spent, and
Well-
particularly for the audit.
I think that we can, give direction, Charles, that, to look at that contract and to
Yeah,
make sure,
bring all that back to you for a
and
second.
to bring that back to us.
But the other thing I just wanna say, that $400,000 is spent whether with the adjustments or without the adjustments, so to speak. How do I wanna say that?
Well,
It works, yeah, it's already, it's going to be spent, whether we make the adjustment or not.
We
Because
have
that's
to
what we
have a
got-
balance, we have to have a balance.
But that's what we had budgeted was 400,000, and all we've done is move things around. We make the adjustments match.
Well, we won't move forward with some of these things if we don't, we're gonna pay the workman's comp and insurance,
Yeah.
and the auditors.
We have to, yeah.
But the other items, we can hold off if I need to till next year, till October. But my request is that we don't wait, and we've got a lot to do.
Well, we've got a lot to do, and we waited for a while for some of this stuff, really.
Okay, Commissioner DeVito, do you have any other changes before I open it up for public comment?
I do have a question I asked, the city manager this in my email. So on the income side, if we're adjusting the expenditure side, to account for increased costs and carryover of funds that have been identified, and supposedly we're $167,000 in the black. On page 3, item 42, total investment income, apparently we did not make the investment, so we will not be receiving $33,000, correct?
Correct.
Which is a significant amount of money. Should we not adjust that to zero that? I mean, I don't see how this balances if we are counting funds that we know we're not going to receive.
Well, and we could try to tweak down the revenue side. I chose not to do that because, I see we've had a surplus every year since I've been here, in revenues over expenditures. If you look through the monthly report, you can see how many are below the 50%, the money that's left unspent. So my view is just to let the income side ride, to adjust these undesignated funds, put them into the expenditure side. And,
It doesn't do any harm to leave the income.
correct, because I know planning and zoning fees are way up, code enforcement fees are way up.
On expenditure, we have to have that by law to spend the money.
Yeah.
Whereas the income side, we just don't have a number there. So, I mean, I understand Commissioner DeVito's point, but really it's just doing paperwork. I mean,
Yeah.
that we can just leave.
Won't stop any action.
Right.
Yeah, the revenue, expenditure side, we stop spending, we stop doing projects.
And we have to pay our insurance. And we need to pay our auditors.
So with that, Commissioner Gear, are you done? Can I open it for public comment?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay, at this time, I'm gonna open it up for public comment. If you would, please come forward, state your name, your address if you will, if you please. Karen?
Diane Sykes, Kansas City, Florida. This is just, I know by the way, we haven't had any hurricanes in the past couple of years, but, according to the meteorologist, this year is gonna be pretty active. I don't know, do we have something in the budget?
$1 million. That's why we spent that $1 million in reserve for a hurricane.
Okay, thank you.
So we have to extend that before, prior to getting reimbursed.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna close out public comment. We have a proper motion and a second. Karen, I'm going to ask you to do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Garten,
Aye.
Commissioner Banks,
All right,
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito,
Nay.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. Okay, so moved. And Charles, I just want to, I do want to say this, and I'll say it publicly, I want to commend you, because you come into this, you inherited a lot of this, and a lot of unknowns. And I know that every day, every night, you have, slept with this, or not slept because of this. And you've kept the spending down as best you could, but we still have a city to operate. And we haven't done a lot of things because we were just unsure as to where we stood. I'm glad to see Steve, thank you. I know that that Charles has looks like he's getting a little more sleep, a little more comfort than he had between you and Julianne. But that's tough. I mean, it's tough to run a business and you don't know what your bottom line is. And so thank you for all that you have been doing.
I know she's getting a little more greed too.
Now she's falling out.
And you know, a lot of the equipment started here, 25 and 30-year-old backhoes, things like that. It's time to scrap them or do something with it because yeah, they don't have the best days.
We have to give our people.
So it just falling on us now, so we got to move.
With that, I'm gonna do a short 5-minute recess, if that's okay. I learned at the last meeting. So I'm gonna do a recess for 5 minutes.
The next item is, ordinance 2403, adoption of a new code of ordinances.
Yeah, an ordinance of the city of Crescent City, Florida, adopting and enacting a new code for the city of Crescent City, Florida, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, providing a penalty for the violation thereof, providing for the manner of amending such code, and providing when such code and ordinances shall become effective.
So if you recall, actually about 2.5 years ago now, we hired, Unicode to put our code online, to clean it up. We had, some things that were illegal, some things that were in conflict, some things the statute had changed, and we just didn't know. There's a lot of conversation about the code's a mess and hasn't been codified in a long time. So, that was their charge. We would send them everything we had, they would review their legal team and filter through everything that, and take care of those conflicts for us. So they've done that, and the final step is that in order to put it online, make it searchable, we have to pass an ordinance saying that this is our new code. And so we'll send that to them after second reading, and they'll include that and everything we've passed since October. Because they had to put a stop somewhere along the line to wrap it up, stop getting new stuff in. So they'll put all that back on there with it, and then it'll be online and searchable. If at that point we search it and someone comes forward and says, I know we have a bicycle ordinance from 2003 and I can't find it, we can continually make changes. Every quarter, we'll be sending them everything we pass that quarter. They'll keep updating the online version, and then periodically they'll send us a new printed version. So the first step is to pass the ordinance, first and second reading, and then they'll make it available to us. And then I have full confidence that it's accurate. They've had, as I mentioned, I covered 4,000 municipalities they worked with getting their codes online, so I have the utmost confidence in it.
Okay, Commissioners, can I get a motion?
I move to approve ordinance 2024-03, adopting the code of ordinances.
Second.
Okay, so we have a proper motion and a second. Commissioners, do we have any discussion on this?
I have a request for the city manager.
Okay.
Okay, so Charles, this actually won't go live until after we pass it on second reading, is that correct? And you mentioned, if anyone feels that something's left out, that we could bring that to their attention.
Yes.
But, so my question is technically, it bothers me a little bit that the new code that has been provided is totally not searchable until we actually pass it. So it makes it a little hard to double check. It's searchable.
You go to Unicode.
You know when it's on there, if you hit Control F, type in anything.
Well,
Search
Charles,
it.
okay. Well, that's good to know, but Charles and I both tried, and when we tried it, it wasn't. It seems maybe it's going back and forth.
It's a readable PDF.
But regardless, is it possible, just for the first year or whatnot, until we get comfortable with this, to retain the documents that we now have online as a historical file? So that if there's any question, we can refer back to it.
Like what's on our website?
Yes,
I would imagine we could save that.
Right now, since I started, each year has its own file for ordinances, resolutions, and proclamations. So if anybody has a question, all I have to do is say if you wanted to see 2021-01, I can go back to the year 2020.
In your computer.
And I have one in my
She's
computer.
asking, can that be done on the website?
No, you can't do that on the website, but you can
no, that's
certainly
not,
ask for it.
okay, so
What are
that's,
you asking, Commissioner?
that's not what I'm
If you'll
asking.
clarify it, please.
okay, we have, a code of ordinances on our website, that is what we're using currently. Are we able to keep that, when Unicode goes live? Can we
I can
keep
ask
that?
I can ask our web service to archive it.
Are you talking about keeping it on the website or just keeping a copy of it? Because she has copies, I have a
Right,
copy. there's
keeping a
copies.
copy, not of the individual ordinances, but of the code as we are used to referring to it.
I could ask our web design company if they could archive it and hold it, not
Right.
publish it, but have it.
Right, so that, and hopefully we get access to archive if we wish.
Or and maybe they can just send it to us as a big file.
I have it as a combined PDF, I mean, it's all, I just took them, I downloaded each one and put them together and gave it to Karen. Because
Okay, so you have it
they were password protected, but I fixed that.
Okay, so yes, we can say, we have it saved.
Okay, because people are used to using, the old one,
Yeah.
and as you say, there could be a question. So it would be nice to have that available for reference, going forward for at least a little bit of time.
This is such an improvement, this is gonna be such an improvement, they,
Well,
you'll
I use
find
it. Right, I use it for other cities,
Right,
we use it, I don't know, we use it for many other municipalities, and actually,
Counties and.
right, and, yeah, I know the people at Mid-Code, or at least I
There's
do.
comments in there.
Yeah, I grew up.
Okay, so is that all that you have? That's all? Okay, does anybody have any other comments?
The one thing I wanted to bring up is that the land development code, of course, we didn't pay them to do that because there was no reason to with us passing a new land development code. Right,
They just attach the old code.
right, and that old code is very, very, very outdated. I mean, even more so than what we have on our website. So when we adopt, I mean, this doesn't even include the LDCs, right?
It does, what they agreed, first they asked me, well, we'll just hold off until you finish your land development code update. And I said, no, we have no idea how long it's gonna take. Please publish the code and just attach the old. But they've agreed, as soon as that's done, it'll take off the old code and put the newly adopted land development code on. That's a searchable document.
I think we might need to put a disclaimer on there or something, because that LDC, I mean, that was adopted in 2005 when I was commissioner before, and we've amended that hundreds of times.
It doesn't have any of the amendments.
But that's what I was talking about at the workshop we were the last time, when I said, oh, it's not, when Unicode did is updated, it's not at all, it's the original 2005 adopted LDCs.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll help us to have that online because it's just not accurate.
Or maybe they can add, a disclaimer in there, Charles,
Yeah, well, I can send them the correct one. Yeah, fix it.
whenever we get it, okay. Okay, is that it?
What's on the website is
Commissioner,
Mark.
Commissioner Burton, Commissioner Banks, you good? Okay, I'm gonna open it up for public comment. If anyone would like to speak to this, please come forward, state your name and your address, if you please. Okay, seeing no one come forward, I'm gonna close public comment. With that, Karen, I'm gonna send it to you, if you'll do a roll call for us, please.
Commissioner DeVito? Aye. Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Banks?
Aye.
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so moved. Okay, Charles.
Bless you.
Little sign. That's Commissioner. Yeah, of course.
I'm just trying to shrink it down a little bit.
It's down in the bottom.
Some people
right
trying to
corner.
read that. We should-
I wouldn't know.
Captain Upstream's gonna be dealing with some more rats. Somebody slam on brakes trying to read it.
So this is a project, it's about the median signs, started on a couple years ago, working with DOT.
to, after we finish the branding, to update the signs that say, business district. And, first I want to distinguish that, terminology, because I spoke with some folks and we discovered we were talking about different things. This is what I call pedestrian wayfinding. So you can see it from your car, but it's really, when you're walking along, you know that the little shop is down this way and there's another shop the other way. So this is an old sign that used to be out here, and that's what I call pedestrian wayfinding.
Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
How long has that sign been gone?
It's still there. It's still there.
The
There's-
pole's there, the signs are.
Right, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, the pole's there.
He's just using that as an example of what wet wayfinding is.
No, I know, I'm just saying, when did the signs leave?
So this is example of what I call traffic wayfinding. I just found when I was talking to people about wayfinding, they were thinking of the first example, and this is what I refer to for automobile traffic. It has size requirements for FDOT. This is the example from our branding resource book. And then this is what's out there today. It's not only the old logo, but it's peeling off. And,
Peeling off, yeah.
the DOT has told me now that they know it's peeling off, they're gonna do something about it, because they get lose points or something on their inspections for having that. So, where I got with it was, I found out that's an Acme sign, and contacted Acme, and they gave me a quote of $1,000, review the sign. So DOT said, well, they need to fill out a permit, and we need the wind load and engineering, and I was unable to get that information from Acme Signs for whatever reason. So it kind of came to a standstill. And then when Michael Frank started working on the design committee on wayfinding, and he was referring to pedestrian wayfinding. I asked, well, maybe you can get some action on this, but I'm stuck. I can't get Acme to write me back, and DOT's waiting on the engineering for the sign. So he was able to get some response from DOT, and they kind of seemed to be okay with just replacing. They won't let us resurface that sign. They need to replace the metal, the entire sign. And they, when I started asking about, can we make it say, welcome to historic downtown Crescent City, they say no messages, can only have destination. Originally they said it had to be the seal and not marketing logo. Now they seem to be okay with the marketing logo. And then there was a debate whether using the word historic triggers a brown background color or not. So Mr. Frank came up with this design. I told him I'd present to you. But this is what I got back from DOT. Wouldn't be a square background, it'd be an oval background. They said if it's historic downtown, it has to be on the side of the road as a historic marker. Really, that word just seemed to trigger them down a rabbit hole. I kept saying, no, well, what if it just said downtown? So they sent this back to me and said, this is what we would accept. And then when,
In green, right?
in green.
Now that green is not a green.
That's DOT green.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Frank created this draft, his preference is the brown sign that is directional, it's wayfinding, which DOT's feeling was it would be better if this was a destination. I believe it's too close to the turn for traditional wayfinding, but he really believes it needs to say Crescent Lake, Sunrise Park, Lakesdale, Dexter Beach in brown background.
That's brown.
That's his preference. So the design committee looked at it, there was not a consensus on the brown. So what DOT has said is your commission needs to decide and send us what their preference, and then we'll conform it to DOT standards, which I think means they'll turn it green, and they did it, the letters have to be 4 inches high, and the logo can only be a certain size inside and can't be too big. So my request to you tonight, my preference is, if they'll let us say historic downtown in the seal, the logo, if they kick it back and say, no, can't say historic because it's not a historic marker, maybe they'll be downtown. I think we're gonna end up with a green sign. It's called DOT green. There won't be a square background, it'll be the oval. We could do the seal if you prefer the round seal, like you see on the podium here. But we need to send them your desire, and then they'll conform it to the regulations.
Mayor, I have a question here. So are we talking only about choosing a downtown sign, or do you want us to also choose a sign a wayfinding sign for, some of the two parks on the lakes.
Well, my request is you choose it as a destination sign. With the wayfinding, to me, would come further back from the light on the side of the road outside the DOT right of way. I think we can put it on city property, so we don't have to get permitted by DOT, which constrains what we can do with the design and so forth.
Really, we just need to replace, you want us to come up with what we're gonna ask DOT to replace.
We want to
this
replace
sign.
those existing signs, we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But it has to meet their permitting requirements.
So this would be the destination sign, the wayfinding sign would be the lakes.
It would come later, it'll be back right at Florida Avenue, knowing as you approach the light, you need to make a right for Lake Stella, you make a left for Crescent Lake, so that's a whole nother discussion, I think. I think to convert this median sign to a wayfinding sign, it's just not in the right spot. It's kind of like you've arrived, welcome to historic downtown.
Okay, to,
Commissioner, yeah.
okay, I talked to you about this a long time ago. I think we're about the only town on 17 between DeLand and, Green Cove Springs, and then also on 100 that has a historic district on the highway, but there's no historic district marker. And I asked you, could we have those historic district markers like DeLand, Palatka, Green Cove Springs, I think Stark has them also
Yes.
on 100.
Yes, we can.
So I don't know, it seems to me, so if we say historic, it most likely will be brown.
My guess would be if they allowed us to say
Right.
historic, it would turn it brown, just because they're kind of in that mindset.
Right.
They may come back and go, no, we don't want a brown sign there, make this green. The guy I spoke to on the phone kind of saying, we wouldn't do a historic sign there. He backed way out and said, just tell us what you want and we'll conform it to our standards. So we can do the brown sign. They did respond to me and said, we don't pay for those anymore, but you can do them. You just have to submit it to us for approved permitting. There used to be a sign, I guess, where they would pay for it. Approved.
Brown.
The brown ones that have the little historic symbol and say National Register Historic District. You can put it at the end, kind of the edges.
Does it have to be brown?
It does.
Yeah, but the thing about the brown is, and I talked to Michael Frank about this, he brought up the sign issue because he knows I like history. People recognize those signs. That's what you're used to seeing on the highway. So to me, when they see, like when I see a brown sign, I say, oh, maybe there's something I'd like to go see because I'm used to looking for that. They tell you you're at some kind of scenic location. So for that reason, just because people are used to seeing them, I say put historic downtown in there and maybe they'll give us a nice brown sign and then we could, I guess we could ask for the permit depending on how much it costs for the actual historic district markers.
We can do that also. Yeah, it's an issue.
I would love to do that. I don't know.
The point is that the business district doesn't make sense. So we need
Yeah,
to
you've been
decide-
in the business district since you got into town.
all of 17 is a business district. I mean, it's also commercial. So we need to decide whether we want downtown or historic downtown.
Yeah, so I think we can we'll ask for what we want and see what they will allow.
I mean, it would only make sense if we asked for historic that they were gonna make it brown. I mean, that's the way the signs work. There's rules about that. So DOT is really very rule driven.
I'm fine with brown. They wouldn't allow blue. Blue is a separate code for
Yeah.
Of course you're fine with
facility or
brown.
something.
So, you sure they won't want us to do aqua?
They have no teal.
No.
Teal, one.
Well, because Mayor, I just mentioned one thing. So I was looking at the Main Street report and it says, the purpose of Main Street is to preserve historic downtowns. So it seems logical to me that since this is Main Street and it's the historic district and it's our historic downtown, that we just put it on there.
There's not really anything else that makes sense.
Okay, can we get a motion?
Yeah.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
Go for it.
Okay, I move that we, tell DOT that our preference to replace the business district sign out here in Median is to have a sign that says historic downtown.
Second.
And do we have to submit it to them in green, because you can submit that to them, can't you, and see if they change it? How do
Yeah,
you
they'll
do that?
change it to what's permissible.
What's permissible? How do you wanna do that, you wanna include that in your motion?
That we submitted in green.
Whatever color you want to submit it
I
in.
mean, personally, I would rather it be a round sign to let people know that it's that historic destination. But,
Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Oh, it's a
Oh, you already seconded, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, I didn't hear you.
I say that the first time.
Okay, so we have a proper motion and a second, do we have any further discussion on this?
Well, do we need to clarify that we're requesting a brown sign?
I'm not
Or
requesting a brown
No,
sign.
It sounds like they're
So
gonna give
that's what I'm
us
saying.
what's in there, yeah.
When you submit it to them, do you want to try to submit it as historic downtown in green, or do you want to do it in historic downtown in brown?
Now, let me ask one question before we decide on that. I see a sign here that says, welcome to historic Crescent City. Is that the same thing as a historic downtown or historic,
Where do you see that?
That's on the wayfinding.
Yeah.
On the branding, on the branding.
My thing is you've been in Crescent City for a while, so we'll have those on the edge of town, and then this is like, welcome to downtown. You've arrived, kind
And they said we couldn't have a message in there, correct?
of. Correct, yeah, can't have the wall.
So you can't have the button,
You
okay.
can't have a lot.
DOT doesn't want you to be welcome.
I just wanna make sure that.
So I think this is one sign at a time, right, one sign at a time. Well, I don't know, I mean, personally, I'm for brown, I made the motion, BJ seconded it, do you have a preference?
I'm fine with brown. I mean, it makes sense. It's a historic point of interest.
So you're gonna amend your motion to make, request a brown historic
Yes,
downtown.
I would like to, that we, submit to them the design in brown and request that it say designate our historic downtown.
And you mean,
And second that, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for a brown historic downtown sign to be submitted to DOT. I'm gonna open it up. Do we have any comment, anybody from the audience that would like to speak to this? Okay, I'm close public comment. Karen, if you wanna go ahead and do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Commissioner Banks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner Rita,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
I'm gonna say aye, I'm only voting for it because we need this sign. I don't have anything brown, I've set up a number there for anything brown, and there I am, aye. Okay, so moved.
All right, thank you. Next item is designation of the funding source for the backhoe. And my request is for the general fund, as we discussed earlier.
Can I get a motion?
I move that we designate the general fund line item that we just approved for the backhoe purchase.
Okay, do I have a second?
We second.
The motion and a second, do we have any comments? Okay, seeing no comments, I will say that we did have a letter from a resident, and she did recommend that we go with a Bobcat. And like I spoke earlier, I talked to Keith about that, and he said it was the depth. But we appreciate the suggestion, we do appreciate the suggestion. But he said that based on what they have to do with it, that would work. And they can also, with this, they'll have the attachment here that can automatically let go and pick back up on different attachments.
So we have to buy a trailer for a Bobcat.
We'd have to buy a trailer because it's on a, it's like a skid, it's
I do find it interesting how many attachments they have for the Bobcats now. That was impressive. That was really eye-opening.
And he said the same thing with the backhoe, they found that with the backhoe, unfortunately, getting it from here, from there to here would be an issue too.
And it's not as easy as just popping it on and off, either you have to hook up all your drawer lights.
Okay, so Karen, if you want to, yeah,
Can I ask one question quickly, just to clarify, how many different departments will be using the backhoe, or rather it will be used for support of? how many
It's for
different departments?
streets, parks, water, and stormwater,
Okay.
and wastewater.
And You guys use it too, really.
Sometimes gas department uses it as well.
Right, so we use it across all departments.
Yes.
Okay, Karen?
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Banks?
Aye.
Commissioner Burton? Mayor Myers?
Aye. So approved.
The next item is the annual request for the Red, White, and Blue fireworks celebration. This year will be Saturday, June 29th, putting on a yacht club, Crescent City Yacht Club. The event will be from 4 p.m. to conclude at about 10 p.m. The fireworks after sunset. And they're going to do food trucks, mostly food trucks, a couple product booths, but mostly food available on the street instead of all the other vendors they had last year. And I think everyone's familiar with this event and staff recommends approval.
Commissioner?
June,
Yes, sir.
June 29th.
The Saturday before.
Commissioners?
I move that we approve the, request for Red, White, and Boom fireworks. And that includes the road closure of, what is it, Park to Lake Street, Central Avenue?
Yes. With making allowances for the residents that need
Oh,
access to it. Yes.
Making allowances for residents.
I'll second that, but I have a question.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Commissioners, do we have discussion? Commissioner DeVito, you said you have a question?
Yes, I don't know, do we usually waive the noise ordinance for the fireworks because they're out in the water?
They still may.
Still.
Because I think they're putting everything in there they can, so there's not an issue. And they will be over by 10 o'clock, so.
I don't remember that we ever waived the noise ordinance,
Yeah.
but it's for the fireworks. Okay.
Do we have any other discussion? Everybody good? Okay. Karen, would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Commissioner Banks?
aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so moved.
Next item is the downtown partnership is partnering with the yacht club and putting on the event, and they wish to sell alcohol as part of the food court area.
They did this last year,
Did this
correct?
last year.
Without incident?
Correct.
Okay, Commissioners, can I have anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move that we approve the request for alcohol sales at Red, White, and Boom for the downtown partnership.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Well, I generally don't, I didn't vote for this last year, we had Mystic Bistro and, I don't know, we still have one restaurant down there, to me, I prefer to see the alcohol sold at a regular establishment that sells alcohol and not in the street, so you know how I feel about that.
Anybody else? Okay, Karen, let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Commissioner Banks?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito?
Nay.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so moved. We've got, go ahead, Charles.
Next item is request for appointment to the Tree and Garden Board. We had an application submitted for the vacancy on that board. The application's in your packet.
I move that we approve Ms. Rhonda Contreras to the Tree and Garden Board.
Do we have a second?
That's there.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
And I would just like to say, I appreciate her stepping forward and volunteering. We know that it's hard to do this, be up here. It's also good that we have people that want to be involved. So planning and zoning members and tree board members, all that stuff, it's dedication, so we appreciate it.
But, and, Mayor, if I may? I think Ms. Contreras is present, and, I would note on her application, if you notice, she's moved here recently, she's very familiar with Florida gardening, she's a certified master gardener in Georgia, and I had a tour of her yard, and she obviously is very good at Florida gardening as well. It was a really nice tour.
They do what they're doing, that really brought that house to life.
Yes, they have. We appreciate it. And they have the displaced matters sign up front. Because that home was built by Leonard Eaton, it was actually his home. And he was one of the most famous architects in Crescent City. He built most of the other big houses in town, but that was his personal home.
Thank you for that, Mr. Justin.
Yeah.
Ms. Rondo, would you like to speak, or are you good? That's up to you, I'm gonna leave it up to you.
Well, I appreciate being considered, I appreciate the motion being made, and I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for
Thank
your
you so
willingness to serve. Okay, Karen, can I get you to do a roll call, please?
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Banks?
Aye.
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so approved, thank you and welcome. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, Charles?
Mayor, the next time, what you asked me to bring it back to this month is the dumpster enclosure issue of the commercial properties being required to have a dumpster and then also to enclose the dumpster. My recommendation on this is to have a moratorium on enforcing that and make it part of our grant program where we can offer grants and the pre-CRAs for commercial properties to assist them in building those enclosures. We do have a number of commercial properties that do not have a dumpster right now. They use totes and garbage cans and piles. And so, I don't know if you want us to go around and inform them. They need to put a contract with the waste hauler to put a dumpster somewhere on the site and then enclose it. I can do that, but it's sort of a stick and a carrot would be the grant saying, well, how do you do with that?
Well, it's my understanding that they don't necessarily have to get a dumpster, I believe. There are a few businesses that have a contract just with Waste Spring, is what I understand. So you don't have to necessarily get a dumpster from Waste Spring, but you do have to get a contract with them to do the toters, is what I'm
I
told.
think they should have the toters.
Well, they should have the option, yes, but they need to do that outside of what the curbside services, because that's only put on water bills for residences. So if you have a commercial property, you shouldn't be paying that on your water bill, and so you're not paying for garbage pickup, but it's getting picked up.
Well, no, they do. They
Is it
have,
on there?
they have to have it, no, it's not on their water bill. They're, I believe they are.
They have individual contracts.
Yes,
Right.
it was my understanding they're billed individually, not through us.
Right.
That's directly from me.
But understands, yeah, as long as they do have that, then that's fine.
Yeah, the code just says place in suitable trash receptacles or double metal refuse containers placed in or near the rear of the business establishment.
Right.
So they have trash cans.
Mayor, if I may,
Uh-huh.
I thought that we were only dealing with dumpster enclosures for people who had dumpsters since we required dumpsters in, what was it, 2005, 2007?
2007.
2007. I thought we were dealing with the specific set of people, not new businesses who come in from now on, but folks who we had not enforced the specific dumpster enclosure requirements for, 14 years, that we were just dealing with them.
We are. That's-
Okay, and okay, so, because I would not want to extend this to make every commercial entity get a dumpster, because frankly, there are a lot of lots and businesses that are just too small, and it would look terrible, wouldn't fit. I mean, to me, if you don't need a dumpster, don't have it. And as well, based on Mayor Meyer's comment last time about how we implement this, I thought we were bringing it back to talk about how we're going to do the notification of what we're going to say to the people with those dumpsters. And I believe you said there were 22.
I think there was, yeah.
22, 23.
They're divided among three. It's smaller per
Yeah.
CRA.
Right, I thought,
And we also have, in some of those, I mean, we have people businesses that have been here prior to this going into effect, so there's nothing in there. I mean, so are they grandfathered?
Well, you know, I see that in there, it says their grandfather. I've looked and I've looked and I've looked.
Yeah,
And it sounds like in 2007, this is what was brought to the commission, this is the way it was supposed to be at that point in time, and I guess nobody was looking. How's that sound?
Well, let me ask you this, okay, like your little plaza up there with the service station. Now, all of them use that dumpster there. Now, how do they pay all the business to get together and pay for it, or?
I don't know how that's up to, I guess that's up to them, that's up to them. But like the county, said the county, I dealt with that, I'm dealing kind of with this right now, we've got the county dumpster over here, the county supposedly pays for that dumpster. We've got a lot of residents that feel that that's their dumpster, and they dump in that. The county's paying for it, and it's creating an issue over there.
That's unclosed.
And it's not enclosed, but they pay for it, but a lot of other people use it.
You talking about the bag?
Yes, sir, in the back. And so I've talked to Waste Pro, and they have the ability, and this is something else we need to probably mention to businesses, whether they know it or not, to lock those dumpsters. There's a dumpster that has a latch that can be locked. So that would prevent that, because there's a smell over there. We reported Pine Sol on it on Saturday, trying to get the smell, but there's a smell, and, so that's something that.
Well, that's one of the reasons having an enclosure, you can lock the enclosure as well. It's, I mean, and I think I wish Commissioner Banks was here in 2007, I was in our office. Right in 2005 is when we first adopted the Lake County Code. And then we got into the position where, of course, there were little things that we didn't quite think about. It was the first time doing that. And so I could tell, and actually every year since, we've done little tweaks here and there. And that's what this must have been. But I don't know why it came about, or, what was the,
That's a classic case. It's better if you enclose the dumpster. That's my recommendation. If we notify them, you've got to have an enclosure, we offer the carrot saying, we will help you with the grant.
Let me ask this, most businesses actually rent the place, not most, I shouldn't say most, but quite a few businesses rent the building that they're in. And so wouldn't it be the person that they rent from that would have to put the, yeah.
Property owners.
Property owners, right, should be doing that, no?
Yes.
I see, business
Only
person.
because it is the choice of the leasee to decide what kind of business they have. So if I were leasing.
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can come, if during public, I mean, we can do that. Because it's whether or not, what's gonna happen is whether or not that leasee has decided that they need a dumpster on site. And that's in a contract that leasee's gonna have with Waste Pro, not necessarily the property owner. But we decide the property
We
owner.
decide the property owner if there's no enclosure.
It might be in the lease, it might be something that was discussed or not discussed, usually though. I mean,
Just a thought,
Okay, but maybe my
Yes.
Okay, so we had two votes at the last meeting. The first vote was, that in lieu of just offering to pay for all the dumpster enclosures, we had a discussion, and Commissioner Burton and I don't remember who else, did not particularly want to just go and offer to pay for these dumpster enclosures. I think the term skin in game or responsibility was used. So we thought we would do the moratorium, notify the people, that this applies to, that we were gonna give a 1-year moratorium for them to get their dumpsters enclosed, and they could apply for a grant if they so needed. That was pretty much the motion. And then you indicated, I think, that you were concerned about how this would be communicated to the affected people or businesses, and you wanted to bring it about back and talk about that. But what did you have in mind? I mean, are we going
Well,
down?
my concern is not necessarily just how it's gonna be communicated, but the impact that's gonna have on these businesses for something that we failed to do. We have failed to enforce this, and then all of a sudden, we go to them and say, we overlooked this. We've allowed you to do this for all these years, and now you need to build $2,500 or however much it's gonna cost, fence around your dumpster, and you need to do it within a certain amount of time in an economy that I know everybody, it's up and down, but we still have businesses that are struggling.
Right.
We have a lot of businesses that are struggling, we're trying to keep them to hang on, to hang on. Now, do I want to see a dumpster enclosed? Absolutely, these dumpsters, they can get pretty nasty. So I don't know, but I'm very concerned from a business owner standpoint for us doing that, when in fact we've allowed this to occur since those.
Where we're taking the money that was from our CRA, and of course, you're trying to sell it as, we're gonna use that money to, for blight. Well, it's about $88,000, it would seem to me like we could use that CRA money to actually do something with blight. When you're looking at what you're saying, oh, businesses can't afford it, it's a business write-off. They actually can probably put this on their taxes, as a cost. And so I'm just not sure, it really, businesses, that's what they are, businesses.
I understand that, having been in business though, and especially this time of the year, and to get hit with a $2,500 or however much, I think that might be,
I think it's more like 4,000.
$4,000, fence that they have to put around a dumpster. That's a big hit, whether you can write it off or not, you gotta have that cash there. You have to have the cash, yes ma'am.
I understand, and that's why I said, I think that, the issue is, well, we have a lot of issues in our CRA. We have buildings that need to be refurbished, we never have enough money. We have more things to do with grants than, we can, than we have funds for. And I think, if you look at the scheme of things, and there's a very historic building that makes us look potentially beautiful, and it needs to be tenanted for termites, and we wanna save that building, or, we've paid for, painting and whatnot, that, on the main drags, that maybe adds a little more value than paying for a dumpster enclosure. Some of those don't look so great either. So, to me, the idea of the moratorium is to buy us a little time to work this out. I think, yes, people could apply for a grant. I think we should consider, if it's truly an economic hardship, maybe granting a waiver. Depending on the size of business and, how much revenue they have. Or, people around here are pretty creative. There's a lot of people who build things. We don't know exactly how much it's gonna cost in lieu of an enclosure. We could allow, a little landscaping and require blocks, which would probably be cheaper, require them to be closed. I think maybe there's a lot of things we can do, and I'm a little concerned, that maybe it could even be more than $4,000, in which case we would not have enough CRA money. I Googled it a little bit, and this is a question I have for the city manager, for Commissioner Lori, who knows our code very well. In addition to having a requirement to have a dumpster, do any of our codes require that having an enclosure, do any of the codes require certain standards for those enclosures? Do they have to, be like on a concrete pad or on asphalt, or do they have to meet?
Concrete pad.
They have to be on a concrete pad, okay, which is what makes the cost go up. So in other words, if it's on asphalt, you have to add a concrete pad?
That's on that.
No,
You wouldn't have to add, we're not on a concrete pad out here in the city. I'm talking about the city. We're not on a concrete pad, we're on asphalt.
Yeah, either has.
Just a
Yeah,
hard,
it has to be on a hard surface. So, you know, it depends on, is the city's dumpster in an enclosure? Yes.
It's never closed.
No, it was closed the other day and it actually was pretty nice.
I closed it yesterday. People open it and they leave it open, but they broke it, so then that's the other thing you have to think about is waste road comes in there with those trucks, they pick those up, and those get damaged also when you have that
And so
kind
it's constant maintenance for what, the city to continue to maintain the ones that we put in with CRA money? No, well,
Well,
because you're talking
I mean,
about
that's-
things.
Is we gonna be able to solve this situation tonight?
Thank
No.
you. I don't think I think that we need a motion.
Probably need to go on down the agenda.
This bit of code that you brought forth says that they must be screened from public right of ways and adjacent property by fencing or other materials. Is that all of it, or is this compliant with requirements of section 6.12.4, paragraph 9? What does that say? Pam, do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, Trump has copies.
You say fencing, that could be a chain link fence.
Enclosure material shall be composed of 6-foot-high solid masonry or decorative precast concrete walls with opaque gates. Gates shall be self-latching, chain link fence material with slats is prohibited.
Wood slats is prohibited,
I mean, it's made it difficult for people to.
so we need to, Commission, my recommendation is we have a motion and we put a moratorium for a moratorium, so if somebody.
That was the motion last.
So I know, we
So
just
we're not-
bring it back to this meeting then.
We just, if we don't take any action, the moratorium stays in place.
I think we just.
Ask this to be tabled.
Yeah, we need a table.
Let's discuss
And
it.
study.
Just table.
I'll second. So we have a motion to table in a second, okay? We do have, I know, is there anybody, before we do that, does anybody want to speak? Anna,
I would like some input.
Anna, would you like, please, you sat here all,
You might help us, you know.
Commissioner Burton had the question too, maybe you can add light to that as far as what happens. Okay, Commissioners.
11 South Lake Street, I'm gonna use 3 Bananas address. We have to have a dumpster, it's on a concrete pad, the doors have to be closed, the top has to be closed. That is a requirement of the health department. And every inspection, they inspect our dumpster. Now, you all have met my husband and his pickers, and he bleaches. Our dumpster company, we enforce their spraying of our dumpster every dump. That is their requirement. They don't always do that. They do it at our place. Now, 3 Bananas has been 3 Bananas since 2000. This ordinance came into effect 2007. I appreciate all of this discussion, but I'm gonna go to, the fire marshal has a new code. 3 Bananas or any other building is grandfathered in unless you do major construction. So there are dumpsters that are nasty because they're not taken care of. I agree with that. There are the big green monstrosities that are trash cans that sit on the properties, and they are worse, they look worse than my dumpster. So.
Especially the neighbors, the apartment complex.
I'm not throwing anybody under any bus. I'm here just to discuss our dumpster. So ask me about dumpsters. I pay $600 a month for our dumpster.
Is it waste pro?
Yes, it has to be waste pro. Until the city or until the county opens that up, I can get a better dumpster price, but I can't because they hold us hostage.
Yeah, they have a franchise agreement with us,
Correct.
and we get a percentage of that.
Correct, okay. I don't know how it works. I know
Very small.
it used to be that way in St. Johns County until they opened it up, and my dumpster cost went from that to cut in half. But I get dumped twice a week, yes.
Yeah, my question would be, so I'm just guessing.
Mhm.
But for the same size dumpster that you have, this beautiful dumpster from the sounds of it, that you take very good care of.
We take good care of it.
If we have the same size dumpster behind our public, building over here, would that be $600 for them to have that dumped?
We are dumped twice a week. We have to be, we don't, it's not a requirement, but I would not get all of my product and boxes in our dumpster if we were not dumped twice a week.
She's a restaurant,
Right.
and that's a business, so
Yeah.
they have different requirements, and that's a much
well, that's
smaller,
just-
that's a much smaller
That's
dumpster.
your decision.
Correct. And I have a larger yardage and it is what we have to have. And we break down all of our boxes. A lot of people don't. And that's when you see those lids overflowing
Yes.
because nobody takes the time to break down the boxes.
I know at the Courier Journal, we used to, it was every Tuesday. They came and picked it up, and we have a 4-yard.
So they do the cities, is every Tuesday.
Yeah, it's most people, but I
Ours
know,
are Tuesday, we're Tuesday and Friday.
because I know I hear them picking up the one at Circle K at 6 o'clock in the morning sometimes, which is earlier than they're supposed to, probably, but that's,
Sometimes ours is early,
yeah.
Well,
The next-
we gotta get it done.
but it's about when they can get, it's about their circuit and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's whenever they get to us, that's what they
Because
do.
they got trouble with it.
And we're on the tail end of the circuit
Okay.
of their drive. That's my thought. And thank you.
Thank you very much, thank you, appreciate it. Do we have any other comments at this time?
I don't quite know
Oh, yeah.
what you're all talking about.
Yes.
When you mention enclosure for a dumpster. You don't say how high it is, you don't say what color it is it made out of concrete? Is it made out of brick, is it made out of wood, is it made out of, that lattice work? You're not even saying what it is. And, but she just said it's $600 a month for garbage. If you impose more restrictions on business in this small town, where there is no business, and you're hoping to get it, I don't understand your objection. I can see that maybe it doesn't look good. But being a business person, my husband and I, for 40-something years, it's very, very, every penny counts. And if you put that, and what if there's a storm and it blows over? If you don't recall your requirements to put it up. I don't think that looked that bad. They could spray paint them, but I don't think it's a big issue. To me, it's like those lovely garbage cans.
Do we have any other comments? Okay, no other comments? So right now, we have a motion to table and a second. Karen, could you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Banks?
All right,
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so then, now when we table this, let me just ask one question, Charles, or with Pam. Just because we tabled this does not mean that if they're not, if there's an issue with the dumpster, that she could still,
Yeah, you haven't done a moratorium or anything, so it's
No.
the same as everyone.
but I'm saying, that if there's something's going on with the dumpster outside, the fencing, let's take the fencing out of the equation. Can Pam
Yeah.
still cite them on issues? Okay.
But just to be clear, we did, last month, we said that we're gonna put a 1-year moratorium on this, and then we're enforcing it, correct?
Now, you did a second vote, you decided to table it to this month.
Yeah.
Instead of the moratorium.
No, it wasn't
Yeah,
instead
do
of the
the first.
moratorium.
I
It was-
just think we need more discussion as to.
Right. But I mean,
We need, if
still, the
it
year
wasn't a
starts.
year, we didn't do it, I don't recall us doing a year moratorium.
We just approved the minutes. It was.
Yeah, it was a year,
Not to be-
and then
I
it
just want to
was,
make sure that we're clear on that.
it was to bring it back for implementation, and I heard Commissioner Banks say we need to study this. It does seem to me like we need a lot more information, like how many businesses based on the code, do
More
they,
information on the code.
well, more information about code, and, is it, how many businesses say it would be a hardship? How many feel like they could build their own enclosure? Just we need more info.
Okay, let's move on.
The next item is to talk about the committee, the school acquisition committee, and setting a workshop date to set the parameters. We talked about having a workshop to decide what they're gonna do, what their charge is, how long they'll exist.
Yeah. We keep putting this off, commissioners, we really need to get some activity on this. I just,
So everybody will get their calendar out and set a date.
the time is not getting me sooner.
Right, and, just so you all know, my first date of availability is really Monday, June 3rd.
June?
June 3rd, yeah, we're in May.
Yeah, we're the 9th of May.
Right, well, do we wanna do it next week?
I would like to do it as soon as possible.
Okay, well, I can do it next week, but not the 2 weeks after that.
Okay, so what, next week?
Okay, well, I can't do it.
Commissioner Burton will not be here.
No, I will not be here until, I get back here on the 23rd of May. Sorry.
Okay, so, and then, Commissioner Burton, we really need to coordinate this vacation.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
So now we're looking back, you said you couldn't do anything until June 3rd.
Right, because when Commissioner Burton gets back, I'll be away for.
Okay.
So June 3rd.
So that's a Monday. How does June 3rd look with everybody's calendar?
June the 3rd.
Yes, sir.
The Monday, like at 3 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
that work?
Okay, so can I? Okay, so we're gonna do it Monday at 3 o'clock. On June 3rd.
Last item is the powwow discussion.
The powwow discussion. Who wants to start it off?
Us? I'd just like to say that Eagle Line Park is not a homeless encampment. And that's what it looked like for a week almost. I don't know why that there was people starting on Tuesday and Wednesday night arriving for an event that was supposed to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know why they thought they could stay overnight in the park if they were told that by us. I don't know, we've never ever had people staying in the park, to my knowledge. And I don't think that, being attacked. I don't think that that's appropriate at all or legal. And I certainly think that we need to have a broader discussion about Eagle Line Park in general. We know that park it's a historic site, it's an international registry district. It is not really made for that kind of, we need to stop having events there because it's not an event park. It is a historic passive park with a beautiful gazebo and beautiful oak trees. The Catfish Festival has always happened there, and I think they do a very good job. Rotary knows what they're doing as far as placing things and working around everything. There's Dia de Muertos and Cinco de Mayo, I think it's great. It's a beautiful place like that, but other things, we need to not have vehicles in the park. We need to not have stuff like that going on there at all. I just think we need to get that across that that's not a festival park. That's just my opinion, but.
I beg your pardon, but I disagree. I think it is a festival park, I just don't think it's a festival park for a powwow. And because of all the vehicles, the overnight stays, it really just doesn't work for that type of festival. I think Eagle Line Park would be, it does a good job with those festivals that you mentioned. The other thing, I think it'd be a great place to have, our, every 4th week, we have our farmer's market and stuff, for people to walk through and the park. I mean, it provides a lot of things for people. Number one, it's a beautiful park. Number two, it has shade, it has a bathroom there. There's a lot of good things about Eagle Line Park, but to bring in, and I don't think that this is necessarily just a powwow, that really kind of look bad. It could be other types of events, but I think that we have to be careful for what type of events, I'll be honest with you, I didn't like when we had the boat race on Lake Stella and everybody parked there either. Yeah, you know, there has to be a point where, you know, we're not an RV park in our parks. We're a place where you come in, you utilize the park your RVs, we have RV places to park whatever you need, and let our parks be, a park, you know? That's just the way I feel about it. So we have some, underutilized park that may possibly offer, this type of event, would be the Harry Banks, soccer field, baseball field. If for some reason, because I keep hearing that, this is the way powwows are, from different people, I try to talk to a lot of different people, you know, they always have everybody come, everybody brings their RVs and that's just all part of the whole powwow scene. But there's we need another option if we're gonna have this again, I guess. And oh, by the way, we didn't mention our soul food, you know, which was a very good festival as well. So we have a lot of very, very, very nice, unique festivals right now in our park, and I know the city appreciates all that, so, but yeah, it wasn't pleasant to see the RV park for the weekend.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes, well, I had a pretty good view of the RVs and the tents. Last year and this year, there were more tents and RVs in Eagle Line Park this year. And as well, people use the park for a parking lot. It looked as if, well, this has happened to a couple of other festivals, there was event parking designated, but people tended not to use it. They came and they parked in the park and on the right of way, and it just, it really overwhelmed the beauty of the park, and it's hard on it. You talk about liking the shade. Our land development code provides that you're not supposed to put heavy equipment and vehicles on the tree roots because it damages the trees, and some of those trees have dropped limbs, and, you know, there's such a thing as loving things to death. But the main thing is I looked up the code, because I think we all got emails about this, right? About the encampments, people staying overnight. I think our park code or our event code allows, I was very surprised, I did not realize that it allowed camping with authorization by the city manager. And Charles had said, well, you know, you could change that, and I do think that camping in any of our parks, just because of the impact of vehicles, the oil, the appearance, everything, to me, that should be very exceptional. It should come to the commission and, you know, should allow for public comment about that. And, because we don't usually have it, and it just didn't seem to work out well for the long term.
Yeah, but I disagree with the camping out there overnight. It always in the past, ever since I can remember the catfish, because they always had a couple of guards out there watching the people's different, you know, things, but camping overnight, I was wondering what was going on. I don't think I voted on letting the camp 2 or 3 nights out there in the bar. So when did they get the authorization?
From me.
From you?
And just to clarify, to go back to the beginning, it's last year, and Mary Ann came to me before last year with an idea. And I feel like everybody likes to be on a winning team. Everybody wants to participate in the redevelopment and have an idea, and we've seen new ideas. People start events, run with them. We've had some great new additions to the community. Sunsets on Stella, Soul Food Festival, and others have been great, farmers market and so forth. So I think people want to participate, and I always approach things, how can I get to yes? How can I facilitate somebody contributing, being a contribution, being part of what's going on, they're excited, it's a cool thing, it had lost its previous, it been canceled, I guess, because of COVID, and was looking for a new home and so forth. So I said, that's a very unique idea, do a powwow, let's give it a try. And so, we did last year, I don't recall much complaints from last year. So they came around again this year, and, I didn't realize the extent of the number of people that weekend. She did ask, can, some of the people spend the night, they're concerned about their stuff, and I said, yeah, that'll be fine. So, I got the message about the camping, just like I do fireworks and street closures and other things, I'll bring those to you. Someone's asked for this, so, if we bring a carnival to town, they're gonna ask to have their RVs on the edge of the carnival, like they always do. So I'll bring all those things to you, I understand that, but I feel like, I think the event was successful for them in terms of, revenue and expenditures and so forth, they had a good time. And so, I take responsibility for the event and for authorizing it and, trying to help them get something new. I think, if it became a good fundraiser for the Women's Club, it'd be a good thing. I think they could probably do that event, on the edge of town, in a field. Won't have quite the advantages, but they could, there's probably property nearby, they could still continue the event, just not have it in town. If they do need, it's like a bluegrass, if you do a bluegrass event, they camp out and have campfires at night and sing all night, and so you just don't have a bluegrass event in town. So it'd be like that in the future, we say, why don't you talk to a property owner and see if we can get you nearby. And then folks can come into town when it closes up and go to restaurants and still enjoy the community. And those folks that want to contribute to what we're doing still have an avenue to be a part of the revitalization.
Because, of course, my understanding, our, work had to go all the garbage.
It did, that was another thing when I went at the end, I said, you need to remove the garbage, all that on the truck. So that was their responsibility, and they did not fulfill on that.
And that was a lot of garbage.
But I wasn't gonna leave garbage.
That was a lot of garbage. That was a hard weekend, I'll be honest with you, and I think all of us, because we all take great pride in Eagle Lion Park. I love events there, I think we showcase the park, that's one of our best assets, is Eagle Lion Park. And for the most part, and I was right there with the Rotary, I was there from the moment they showed up to set up until they shut down. They were all very respectful of the park. You have to drive across the park. There's times you just have to. There's things that have to be unloaded. Everybody seems to try to be as respectful as they possibly can. Our mowers have to drive across the park. However, that weekend, it was not necessarily our community putting that on. And so I don't know if that's why it looks so different, but it certainly didn't look like one of the events that we normally aspire to. And so I absolutely to have put motorhomes, I've never known of powwows, I thought they were in tents and teepees and not necessarily motorhomes, but we had motorhomes parked there. And then at the end, everybody, where most events, you clean up, you're out of there on a Sunday, Monday morning at the very latest. And there's no really even reason to be there on Monday morning if the event's over. Monday afternoon, there was a lot of people still there. And I went by there probably 5 times on that Monday, and then the garbage. And there was a huge pile of garbage, and that's an issue that I think we need to revisit. And I've spoken to Waste Pro about what we can do, possibly. I asked if they could give us some suggestions, because that's not fair to our employees. And all of us who have done these events, we know what garbage is like, and it's not fun. And that's not fair to our employees either. So, I was disappointed. I was disappointed, from probably Wednesday on, I was concerned. And then we had the black that went all the way around. And it just was not a good look. And so I think as we go forward, it was a lesson for all of us. I'm glad they were successful and that they want to do an event here in Crescent City. But going forward, there's gonna have to be different parameters that they have to meet, in my opinion. And that's not just them, it's anybody. I'm not beating up on them. I think it's just anybody that comes to town that wants to use our park, we're gonna have to make sure. And when we tell them this is, and they violate that, or we feel like they're not adhering to that, then I think we need to have a mechanism in place where we either go in there and say, you fix it, or we're gonna shut down the event. And so I think that's something else that possibly when we saw that happening, maybe we should have done that, I don't know. And said we need to move these somewhere else, you know, your camping, the function was fine, but we need to move the camping somewhere else. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it.
Well, let me ask this question. Once upon a time, when the individual, wanted to set up within the city, even if, okay, like the Catfish Festival. Now, people didn't always sit up there in the park. They were all over town. But, we required a policy for insurance that you set up, that you had to have.
General liability.
Yeah, general liability. And if you couldn't present that along with your application, you couldn't do it.
We still have that policy.
We still have that policy. If you can show me, cause you can see them set up all different places. It just present that policy when they come to you and get a permit.
You mean outside of the park?
Yeah, outside of the park. You can set up in different places.
Are you talking about like roadside vendors?
Well, I'm talking about these people who sell out of these trailers and.
I think he's referring to during Catfish, you know, you'd have other people that would pull up and open up shop along the streets and all over the place, and they didn't have a permit, they weren't covered really, and we didn't have any protection against them, but we really didn't have a mechanism to, you know, to chase them out.
Yeah, they have to have permission of the property owner.
Yeah, but they need that insurance too, because, well, I don't wanna talk too much, I don't know the legality of it. But, I used to you have to have that insurance, and you can check back. Where I $2 million insurance to set up, or in Crescent City, to sell anything.
Well, anyone that actually comes to us and asks, we require that, but the people that just pop up.
Pop up bootleg.
Yeah, we don't. I know I saw a few at Catfish Weekend, on Main Street. We had one is a business, he's got a BTR, and further down, there were some folks just in their yard, like a family was selling food out of their own front yard. But it looked like it was actually the resident of the house that was selling food.
That's on the private property, and
Yeah.
so we would require that from them.
Yeah, we didn't interfere with that.
And, you know, if the Powell had just come and wanted to set up here and just approached us, I don't think we probably would not have approved it. I think the one thing that we forget is that it was the Crescent City Women's Club, which is one of our oldest and most venerable institutions here. And I'm not talking about members, I'm talking about the club itself. They are all, you know, the VIA started here in the 1890s. It was our oldest club in the city. And they've done a lot of good work for years and years. And I feel bad that they're being kind of chastised because they were responsible for this when it really wasn't them that did that made the, broke the thing or did the crime as far as I'm concerned. But, I want to make sure that people understand that. I'm not mad at the Women's Club, I love you guys. But this is just, I think it kind of made it a little easier to approve because it was the women's club coming to us. And I think that might have been part of the reason that I was like, okay, well, this is gonna be fine. But it was not the women's club that was there camping in tents.
Right. And it was the second year, and done well the first year.
And it's just, it was not appropriate and at that place.
Well, and we've learned a lesson. I mean, we all learn. With every event, we learn. Partnership learns, Rotary learns, everybody learns with every event, what works and what doesn't work. And that just based on a lot of the concern from the residents, because I got phone calls. I'm sure we all got phone calls that weekend. You know, that we learned, and we need to move on. And so I think we're gonna move on with this, but maybe that's,
One of the things that I found interesting was the Travis is actually, Rhonda, her husband talked to me that weekend and said, you know, I've been to powwows, I've taken photography, he's like, that's not what you do in the middle of town. You do that on the field out somewhere, you know, because, and that's the thing, that this is a residential neighborhood. And I'm, from Commissioner Polito's standpoint, I mean, we can't have events that are really infringing on everybody else's happiness and pursuit of happiness in their own homes. And that was, yeah, he even told me, he's like, Catfish Festival was great, there were tons of people there, but you go inside the house, you didn't hear it. You know, but he heard everything at the powwow the whole weekend. And, you know, they moved to town, they have restored that house and they brought life to it, and I don't want people like that, you know, upset. It's a nice neighborhood, as Commissioner DeVito.
Yes, and, you know, I'm very conflicted about this, in a way. I mean, as BJ says, I don't want to beat up on the women's club. I'm a member. My grandmother was a 50-year member. I still have her certificate. And she did a lot of work for that club. And the club has created major institutions in this town, but I just think, we need, you know, and I like Charles's idea of a powwow can have a connection with Crescent City, but not necessarily be right in the middle of town. I like that analysis that you gave it. But to Commissioner Lori's point also, yes, it is a residential neighborhood, and it makes me feel pretty bad that one of the neighbors, right after that weekend, became very seriously ill and has been in the hospital for weeks and is going to be out for a while. And, you know, you just have to keep in mind, if people live there, this person will be coming home from the hospital. That's their home. That's the only place they're gonna have to stay. And some families have said, you know, this is a residential neighborhood, and I think that's a very good point. But anyway, as the mayor said, we have learned.
we've learned, but I'm still gonna say that we need to continue to have, I think that for events, as long as we control them, we still need to be able to have events there. That's really our showcase here in town. There's really not another place unless we move it over to Lake Stella. And of course, then we'll have an outside there for our events out there. So with that, let's move on.
They do Market Square, I mean, Market Square is right across the street, and that's.
Well,
You know, we're
I'm gonna
trying to
bring you a
sell
proposal
Market
next
Square.
month.
Well, Market Square's still there now.
We're trying to sell Market Square.
Yeah, we might not.
So,
Okay, so let's move on to Charles's, if we can.
I just want to point out, I included in your packet, sorry, Mayor.
Anybody is there anybody, I didn't ask anybody if they wanted to speak, we're okay, we're good, okay.
I put a copy of the newly found 2013 in our local agreement in your packet. Also, information on the Love Senior Center project. The founder of that will be here next month to present to you.
I don't understand what that's all about.
That's, she had heard we might be looking at a senior center. That was one of the things that was thrown around for the gymnasium, the school use is a senior activity center or something. She heard about it and came to me and I said, well, I think we're a long way from that, but if you want to provide information, they do this, they're nonprofit. They help, they're working with Malacca right now to set up a senior center. She said I'm in the area, I have a grant. We can help you if that's what you're interested in doing. So I thought you guys can decide if you're interested in doing it. I also included just an acknowledgement of our Florida Trust membership, because you guys had put that in the budget. And then I attended the National Main Street Conference, just a couple days of the conference in Birmingham. It was a good conference, went to sessions on rural towns and everything from putting together investor groups to buy buildings to creating tiny tiny house type little villages to as incubator spaces. So it was a good conference. The speed bump issue we talked about last month, so I ordered those speed bumps, they'll be here tomorrow. And to put over on Grove, thinking probably put them by that stop sign. The stop sign always feels like a four-way stop to me. It's, what's the corner of the ball fields at Walnut?
Yeah.
Walnut and Grove, it's not a four-way stop, but it feels like one. We put them at that intersection, it'll kind of create people slow down before racing off. And it's been very effective in the other areas we put it. I also want to mention, we replaced the little gazebo at Lake Stella Park, we replaced all the seats. The seat boards were rotten, so we've got all new seats in there, it looks great. We're repairing the tables in Harry Banks Park. They've been set on fire, they're recycled plastic. So we're replacing the plastic with wood, we're gonna put a fire retardant paint on them and see if that'll last. If it doesn't, we'll replace them with concrete picnic tables. We're also repairing fences at Harry Banks Park, Dexter Beach Park, and Colbert Park. And I'm anticipating tomorrow receiving a response to our RFP, our ongoing RFP from Miller for the Market Square property for mixed-use development. So I'll be very excited to bring that to you next month.
Any questions? Yes.
I do, I have a couple of questions. Aren't we supposed to receive soon, the architectural report on the new lodge?
Yes, the scanning is done, and it's been delivered to the architect. I believe he said 90 days for the whole thing, and that was about a month ago, wasn't it? Another 2 months.
I was thinking, well, July.
Well, the reason I'm asking is he mentioned, we could, I thought he said that, right, if we wanted to apply for, the small grant for, anyway, if you wanted to apply for a historic preservation grant, which I think is due by June 11th.
He's working on, he'll get us some renderings. I've started on the application, and Laura's gonna provide me with some of the background information for the text.
Okay, so, and that would be, to do the plans.
That would be the next phase, at least.
Okay, which unfortunately, we wouldn't get any money until next summer, which I don't find particularly helpful. But, so we don't need to authorize you to do that, we're underway already, and there's no match required, correct?
Correct.
That's why no authorization. And then also, I noted in your report that you had ordered the speed bumps for Grove. In the minutes, it doesn't say we voted on it, but I mean, they need traffic calming. But also, I wanted to bring to your attention that it was not too long ago, that I shared that residents of Bay and Rocket and also, the part of Oakwood south of Vernon have mentioned speeding problems and also requested speed bumps.
There's a speed bump, isn't there a speed bump on Bay?
There is.
There's a speed bump on Bay.
But not on Rocket.
Yeah.
But not wrong.
Right, I think it was, which one is further,
West out. You're gonna be east or west there.
east to west, the one that's closer to Vernon, shall we say, in the Vernon direction? The one, if you're driving north, which one do you come
Well,
to
when
first?
you're going this way, you're going down 308.
Right,
Okay, here's Rocket, here's Bay.
okay, where's Rocket, that does not have the speed bump?
Okay.
Yeah, and that residents have mentioned
That's the first I've heard.
that.
Yeah,
I know, I brought it up in a meeting. So,
but we do have one on Bay.
okay,
There is one on Bay. Okay. Anything else?
Did you say something about, again, you're painting those speed humps, or you're looking at?
Yes, Keith's actually been working with a guy who may do it for free, because he's got a like leftover product, or new product he wants to create a demo for.
Okay.
We don't know for certain, but there's a chance we'll get him restriped for free. It'll be that thick, reflective.
Like the heat stuff that they have to melt onto the road, that's awesome, that stuff doesn't come out.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it happens.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, we're gonna go ahead and paint them.
Because it's dangerous, we hit one the other day without, Because you think that it's
Are you
the,
speeding?
no.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to be riding my van and trying to go over speed hump, it does not feel good.
You know, there,
You
I
have to
say
go very,
this,
very slow. I mean, the speed humps are better than the bumps. and-
Should get on one of our golf carts.
Yeah.
the speed humps are not always easy to tell from the patches in the road.
Right, yeah, that's what.
But they have,
They feel different, for sure.
right. they
I
have a
know,
more spirit.
I know Commissioner Morales. But people, Rachel's driving.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get it done, that's great, because people have been asking for this ever since they were put in. The painting job never was very visible.
I would like to, we're talking about this with traffic calming and speed. I still believe that right here on the corner of Main and Central, and we've been talking about this for several years, we need possibly a four-way stop there.
Oh, you took the words right
So
out of my mouth,
I
it is
really would like for us maybe
dangerous.
for us to bring that back in another agenda item, that we could look at that area and some other areas that might need Captain, you might can help us with that. I know although I've been told there's only been 2 wrecks there, but at Magnolia and, Main Street also, there's that huge tree that you have to try to see around for somebody coming.
And there's a crosswalk there.
And
It's
it's
a
across,
use trail.
yeah, and so I don't know if maybe that's another location, but maybe Captain, yes, sir.
Even it's great when there's nobody and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but when it's crowded, you got cars parked on the sides of the road like they are properly. You're already stuck out on the road so far, you pull out in front of somebody, so I would agree.
You would agree?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I have a question, about this road that's right behind here.
Main Street.
This little alleyway that we have.
Oh, on the building.
Now, the traffic is supposed to come this way and go right out onto Central. That's dangerous. You've got people walking right there. When you're coming out, you really can't see Central very well, either side as you're pulling out of there. I can understand having an alley back there, but why not have the traffic come in from Central into the parking lot? Which at least, maybe you can have a little parking lot sticker that says parking.
Well, it's our exit to the drive-through. The payment one.
I was there.
You can still, from the payment window, you can turn right.
That's correct.
And exit on Florida. I just think it can be dangerous. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever been hurt there, but I almost hit 2 people there. Not almost, but it was close.
I think Commissioner Burton has a very good point. I've noticed that as well, and it always, when I come out there, it always occurs to me there should at a minimum be a sign for pedestrians and a sign for the driver.
If there's, yeah,
But, well, usually, in urban areas, if there's a driveway like that, there's a sign for pedestrians that says caution, exiting traffic, and then there's a sign for the drivers that say caution, watch for pedestrians. But Commissioner Burton, actually, that solution to change the direction of that alley would help considerably.
I think so.
And, the drive-through can simply go out past the old annex towards Palmeri's. You just make a loop, right? Yeah.
Do not enter signs on this end of it. Sure.
Gotta retrain people.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's safe at all.
Nope.
And that's one of our busiest blocks on that part of Central Avenue. So.
Okay, do we have anything else?
I moved up adjourn.
Do we have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Bobby, did you have any updates?
Oh, Bobby, again,
You always forget to.
okay, motion to adjourn and a second, do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you all. We appreciate you sitting through this.
We getting better.
Okay, I just wanna know what time Domino's needs to close. Is it closed at 10?